No, I was the thing I said. The thing I said in the chat. That's from Hamilton. It's the opening song. It's part of the opening song from Hamilton. Yo, I'm John Lawrence in the place to be. 2 pints of Sam Adams, but I'm working on 3. All right, we are live. We are recording. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to T3G. This is the Tangents Podcast. We've been away for a few minutes, but we are back. And
we've been away forever and ever and ever and ever.
But we are back, and we are live on the internet. And if you are new to the podcast, the way this goes typically is we pick a couple topics, we go down, talk about our topics, and then wherever our whims take us, as they say, and that is why it's called Tangents. Yeah. Definitely. What's up, Uncle Peter? Good to have you as always.
Yo.
And yeah, we're gonna start right off on a very strange topic. I don't even know why I'm choosing to talk about this, but I got snipped last week. I got a vasectomy last week. You weren't ready for that. You weren't ready for that. Yeah, and I think everyone should do it. I think it gives you a very interesting experience. Just, you know, some people handle your balls for a couple hours. Not even a couple hours. It was like less than an hour. And then you walk out of there. You know, it's a little sore for a while, but otherwise you're good. And then you don't have to worry about, you don't have to worry about impregnating someone ever.
I'm going to decline heavily about doing it. Yeah.
I don't know. I just thought it was honestly one of those things that, like, in my head was a way bigger process and procedure. And cost way more than I thought it would. Than what I thought it was going to cost was way higher than it actually cost. Like triple what it was actually cost. My doctor said without insurance, it was like $500. I was like, that's not even that bad. Like to not have to...
I'm just used to hospitals saying like an absurd number that...
Right. That's exactly. All the research I had done before that was like $1,500 starting. And I was like, fuck that. Like, that's a lot of money. Like, I'll just be careful. Like, I'll use condoms. But oh no. I didn't spill on myself, but I spilled a little bit on this enclosure. But it'll be fine. But, so I want to talk about a couple different things today. One of those things is fan demands. Now, we've talked about this a couple times before. This is people demanding things get changed, demanding things get done. And we've got a couple different stories happening currently of the results of that, right? We have the Snyder Cut, which was released heavily due to fan demand. I don't think if there was no fan demand, they would never have released it. Especially they would not have put money into it because they're putting more money into it.
Right.
So I don't think, like, no chance they would have put it out if there was not this incredible fan demand for it. But the flip side of that is we have, and I'm going to bring it up here, we have a story that there is a petition. Turn off Firefox. There we go. There's a petition to remake The Last of Us Part 2's story because they are... Because they are so mad about how it goes. So it says this is the petition that it states, and spoilers if you haven't played. I have not played it, but I don't really care. The Last of Us Part 2 delivered a great gameplay, graphics, and mechanics, but the story was extremely bad. They killed off our favorite character and forced us to use the character that killed off Joel, and we were supposed to connect to Abby throughout half the game, and the main character isn't even... Like, they're so mad, they can't even write sentences. It's just one long sentence. We want ND to remake the game with the scenes they provided at every trail with Joel and not model swap him from flashbacks. We need a remake for this game because this is a massive disrespect for every fan that waited 7 years for the sequel, and we need to get what we deserved, and it was not this game. And that's the thing that I wanted to talk about, is this idea that fans deserve some special treatment when it comes to these properties. Like,
certain
what do you
things
think?
are deserved. certain things are deserved.
Yeah, no, I think we talked
Um,
about this at length. I think
Communication
yeah,
is deserved.
yeah, we've talked about this at length. Like the
Um,
basics, the basics are required. Not even just we don't just deserve that, we require that. Like it's
Correct.
we're at a point now with DC or well, yeah with DC and Warner Brothers that they're going to need to do a lot to get any of my kind of respect back and any kind
Yeah.
of loyalty back. Like
Yeah.
DC is at the bottom of my list of
Because
production
like
companies
a
and
perfect example about that is I just saw for HBO Max that season 2 of Doom Patrol is out.
yeah they're sharing the
No, I know, but it's funny that HBO Max got the commercial. Nothing about
not DC Universe.
yeah.
I see what you're saying.
So
That like,
so it's
and they're
like
not and they're not communicating if they're gonna
oh
just turn this into a XYZ thing or whatever. Like they're not
right
talking to us about that. And yeah, and I think that's definitely something that people deserve. I think people deserve to understand what the thing they paid for is going to be and is going to become. But
right
I don't get this mentality that, oh, I didn't like the story and you know a bunch of us didn't like the story, therefore do it again. Like
yeah no that's never gonna happen because the creators created the story how
they
they
wanted.
wanted to create the
Right.
story, hence them being the creators. You liking the story or not is your problem. That's they didn't make the story for you to like it or not like it. They made the story because that's the story they wanted to tell. If you happen to like it, great. If you didn't like it, sucks for them, but they still made the story they wanted to make.
Right. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I I think that people remember the Mass Effect 3 thing where like
And also, that didn't change a lot. They just added a new ending.
yeah, they
They
added a
didn't
different ending.
change this. They didn't
Right,
change the
right,
whole
exactly.
story.
Yeah,
Like,
this would be another game. I mean, there's just no way around that. This isn't like
right.
touching a few things up, adding a few like adding 10 minutes of content. This is
Also,
3 hours of content that need to get redone.
I have not played Last of Us 2. I have played the first one, loved it. Uh, if you didn't know just from playing the first one that Joel was gonna die, you're an
Oh.
idiot.
Oh.
I waited
Really?
for him to die. I waited for him to die the whole time during the first one.
Oh, see
During the
that.
first one, I was like, this guy's dead at some point.
Interesting.
Like, I no joke. And I was like, the whole time I'm playing the first game, I'm like, he's gonna die at the end, sacrifice himself for the goal. The fact that he survived was probably kindness to them and also them wanting to see how the story continued after that, right? Potentially. I don't know.
Right.
But I expected that guy to die multiple times over.
Interesting. Very interesting.
So the fact that people didn't see that coming is weird. It's stupid.
Interesting. See, and that gives me another level to this because I think that then it's are you just being blind? Are you not admitting what the story is? You know, like it's like if you went to see Hamilton and you thought he was gonna survive at the end. Like there's no happy ending there. Motherfucker dies. It was hundreds of years ago.
Right. Right. No, yeah. If you actually play the first game, the whole time you're thinking, when are they gonna show this guy's heroic death?
I see. I see. See, that's interesting. That's very interesting to me.
So if you got him for the first, I don't know, 3 hours out of that game in the next one,
Mm,
good for you. Like
mm.
you should be happy
Interesting. See,
because it doesn't matter that he was your favorite character. That's not even what the story's about. Him being your favorite character is irrelevant.
that's very interesting. That's very, very interesting.
So
See,
it's funny. It's funny that
that's quite
people
funny. It's quite funny.
are playing a notion of some kind that the story didn't go the way they wanted to. Well, first of all, it doesn't matter if it went the way you wanted it to, and second of all, you and I were playing a different game because the fact that he didn't die already before part two. Um,
Well then. Well then. Well,
Yeah.
that's very interesting to me. That's very interesting to me. Now,
Yeah.
now, in kind of a similar vein, I want to talk about this idea, and I feel like we touched on it briefly on the podcast, but we've talked about it at length outside of the podcast. Is this? I mean, I don't even want to call it. I don't even call it a push. It's a bunch of white actors feeling white guilt and taking themselves out of projects where they voice
Right.
animated
Right.
characters that are not strictly white.
Yeah.
It's really and there's this even kind of goes to a little wider concept of there are people that are canceling themselves out there.
Right.
Apparently, Jenna Marbles had a video where back in the day, like probably 5-7 years ago, like a long ass time
Uh-huh.
ago,
Yeah. Yeah.
she had done her makeup a certain way, and then she had like wigs, and I I guess if you are just the softest motherfucker on the planet, it could potentially come off as blackface.
Mm.
But I honestly, when I saw the video, because I was like, that's it? Like, I genuinely was like, oh, I was expecting, because she's always like weirdly darkly tan. Like, I've always thought she's got like a weird
Yeah,
spray,
she's
like a
always
weird
she's
spray
always
tan
had.
fetish. Like, I've never been
Yeah.
a fan of, like, honestly, I really like how she looks. But like, I've
I mean,
watched
she's
this.
always had a like you said. I feel like uh, either that she tans or like religiously type of deal,
Yeah,
or it's a spray on tan
yeah,
type of deal, right?
and
One of
she canceled herself. She left YouTube. I don't temporarily, I presume, because she made this video, and I guess maybe it like got out a little, like it like got brought back up or something. But she made this video where she's like super apologetic, and she feels all these bad things, and I'm just sitting there and I'm watching the video, and I'm like, that's it. Like that's not that.
oh, the thing with the pink hair and like
Yeah, so she like she takes her wig off, and then it's like her blonde hair, and then it looks like really dark because she has platinum blonde hair.
mm,
And I'm like, that's not even what this is. Like, this is not what people want. Like, this is not what people are asking for. Like, these are not the steps to be taking. Like,
right,
it wasn't, she didn't do a thing to like make fun of like, she didn't do blackface.
Here's the thing.
It could be
Here's
read that way, and then
here's the
she
thing.
chose to cancel herself.
Here's the thing. I said this to you. I think it was yesterday. In my opinion, the fact that there's this issue where everything's taken to an extreme, and at the end of all that, we're holding everybody accountable for every single thing they might have said or done wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know about the world people want to live in or do live in, but I guarantee you that even that person that's bitching about somebody did something wrong in their life. Now,
Oh yeah,
just because they didn't televise it or they're not popular enough for people to know, for more people to know that they did it, doesn't mean you didn't do it. Doesn't mean that it does no longer exist. It just means you're lucky
yeah,
and you're not
yeah.
a
It didn't
public
come out.
figure where it didn't come out to everybody.
You didn't get caught. That's the
That's like
difference.
the biggest thing is that we are being essentially we're being stupid. We're being stupid because we're like, this is unacceptable. You did this many years ago. Here's the evidence. Yeah, the evidence is there because they didn't take it down. Like, one of the biggest things I respect about Philip DeFranco is that he acknowledges the stupid
Right.
that he had back in the day. He didn't take those videos down, and nor should he.
No.
He's he understands
If
that
for no
at
other
that
reason than they're funny as shit to watch now.
well, right, one, they're funny as shit, but two, at the same time, it's also for him to remember, oh yeah, I was that kind of stupid.
Right. Because
Should
what is
he
it?
now should he now release a video right fucking now in 2020 and be
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm sorry, I was an idiot?
Right.
No, he shouldn't. Because he doesn't continue to do that. He hasn't done that in many years.
Yep.
He does not need to come out and be like, sorry for being stupid back in the
Yeah.
day, and I've learned and I've grown and I've adjusted. Yeah, people make mistakes. People make stupid mistakes. People say some shit that's maybe hurtful. But at the end of the day, as long as it looks like they've grown, know that they fucked that up and can, haven't done it in a long time, pretty safe to say that they understand that they fucked up. They don't need to apologize to anyone,
Right.
really to anyone, except if they continued to do it. Then they could be held to a standard. But if they did it many years ago, and of course they're not gonna bring it up because why bring up bad memories? Uh, but if somebody says something about it, yeah, I did that. I'm
That,
not proud of that,
that's why I said
but
I all the dumb shit I've said on Facebook, which like my Facebook is private. I stand by all that dumb shit. That's who I was then. Like those are the kind
right,
of shit. That's the kind of shit I said. Those are the kind of questions I had then. So like,
right,
yeah, I try to make edgy jokes sometime. Like shit happens.
yeah. I mean,
Like
sometimes you try to be funny, try to, I don't know, just try to be something that at the end of the day, when you think about it, oh, okay, I can see how this was fucked up.
yep.
But nobody's, anytime somebody does something like that, nobody, and I mean nobody, is actually sitting down and be like, is this fucked up? Let's think about our actions for a hot minute. No, they're like, oh, this sounds funny.
And actually, that's a perfect point. Erica said she put a post up on a friend of ours Facebook, and it was this clip they were talking about. Like there was a clip of a news reporter who was like live on scene or whatever, and you know how they have the like banner that says like what's going on or whatever under their
Right.
name on TV.
Yeah.
They were sitting there and they were talking about Molotov cocktails, except maybe because of ignorance or maybe because they don't know how to spell or maybe it was an autocorrect issue. It came out on screen as Mazel Tov cocktail. And
Oh,
I think that's funny by itself. The thing
right.
she posted had a picture. It was like a silhouette. It was a silhouette of I mean I think it's just like a Hasidic Jew, because I don't I can't say rabbi because I don't think that look is specific to
I think
rabbis.
that's right.
But it was so it was like a Hasidic Jew holding a Molotov cocktail and screaming L'chaim, and I thought that was. I mean, honestly, I would have thought it would be funnier if he held an actual cocktail, like a drink.
Right.
I think
Right.
that'd be funnier,
Right.
because that would kind of just go along the same joke. But like, she posted that, and the person she posted it on like gave it a laugh emoji or whatever. But then someone they know was like, "That's anti-Semitic," and I literally sat there and I was like, "How?" I'm like, your point, like it's a joke. Like you're making fun of a foible. Like it's not, which I actually think is a Yiddish word. Speaking of, you're making fun of someone's screw up by like posting a visual representation of this thing that they said.
Right.
Like people do that all the time.
Yeah.
Like we say shit all the time, and there's like something that you say all the time, and I always make fun of you for it. Like sometimes you like when you said yoke to me one time, and I would just like we spent like 20 minutes, and I was like, how the fuck do you just talk about how you say yoke that way? Because like I wasn't like you fucking moron. It was just funny, Like, it was funny, and then
Right.
we once in a while bring it up, and then we move on with our lives. Like, it's not a hateful thing, and I just don't get. Like, I personally fully believe that there is nothing off the table. If you are making a joke to make a joke,
Right.
nothing's off the table.
Not to be like
Not to be an asshole, not to like
purposefully hurtful.
right.
But
If
to
you're making a
actually
joke
make a
to be
joke.
funny, and it's a well-crafted joke, like
Yeah.
I don't think anything's
Yeah,
off the table. I think nothing is off the table. The problem is people do. People want their subjective opinion of comedy to be the objective definition of comedy,
Right.
and that's not how life works. Like
No,
that's just
that's not how
you
that's
just-
not how life works, nor like that's I mean, in my opinion, that's just I mean, you can say whatever you want. You can say, well, like that's because you're an asshole, or you know, you're uh, insensitive, or blah blah blah. But like, if comedy is an outlet for us to make fun of shit that's can be serious
yeah,
if put in a serious manner.
yeah,
Like, if we're clearly just doing a joke, like a comedian, for instance, clearly doing a joke, even if it seems like dark humor, like, why should that comedian be scrutinized or whatever the word is for something that's it's a literal joke.
right.
Like, it's like they're not going out of their way to pick somebody and insult them. I mean, shit. Let's be real. Comedians during when they have an audience and somebody says something, or even if they just pick a random person in the audience to make fun of, they make fun of that person,
Yeah.
but in comedic way, not to go out of their way to insult them.
Perfect example again. Andrew Schultz. He had a show that he was doing, and a lady there had a seizure. Like, as he's starting his set, like he gets on stage and this lady has a seizure, and you know, like the paramedics show up, blah blah. They help her, they take her out. She's gonna be okay. As she leaves, he starts making fun of her, making fun of like the fact that like how's she gonna like
She just had a seizure.
yeah, like she couldn't have done that on the last dude's set or whatever.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
just like making fun of the situation. And then there's this lady in the audience that's like, that's not funny. And through a couple more questions, you find out this chick who is being like, that's not funny, is a paramedic. And he's like, so why didn't you help? You were gonna let her die?
and that was funny. That was funny.
Like, and that's funny. He's like that's his job is to make fun of all the shit. There's in a fantastic piece of comedy called the Crowd Work special. Is a special he put out the same day that the Chappelle special came out. Not this most recent one, but the one before that. Mm-hmm. And he just does crowd work. So he walks up and it's just clips from like a few nights of crowd work in a specific location, and his crowd work is fantastic. I mean, just he goes in and he's quick with it, and like the responses are good. Like there was one woman who was sitting on the side, and I guess she had I didn't notice because I wasn't looking at the audience, but I guess she had her hand behind the seat the whole time. And he looks over, he's like, "Are you okay, miss?" He's like, "Are you being held captive?" like this shit's funny. But like he had done a thing there where someone in the audience had said like, "Oh, like that's not funny." I forget what it was in regards to. He's like, because I think he was talking. No, I think he was talking about Epstein and that whole situation. Sure. And he was talking about. He's like, my job is to look at the things that everybody thinks and like everybody believes in, and then be like, if you think about it, you know, like it's, you know, to give you a different perspective. Right. It's, you know, a lot of times it's not a good perspective. It's not the right perspective, but it's a funny perspective.
Right.
So he was talking about, he's like, you know, if you had to be a slave and you had to pick a kind of slavery, he's like, wouldn't you want sexual slavery? Like if there was a roulette wheel, like if, you know, you just had
Right,
to
right,
spin the
right,
wheel
right,
and it had to
right,
pick
yeah,
something.
yeah,
He's like,
yeah,
you'd be like, suck dick, please. No cotton, no cotton. And I'm just like, that shit's funny as hell. Like that
right,
shit's funny as hell
right.
because that was his whole thing. He's like, he's not making fun of like the sexual
No,
slave trade. That's a terrible thing. I think everyone
right,
understands that,
right,
except the people doing it, obviously. But
right,
the joke itself is funny. I don't think that making a joke about something invalidates the seriousness of it.
right.
When I went to college, the number one like college joke that year, that first year, my only year at that college, the number one joke that year was dead babies. Dead babies are not funny.
Right.
Dead baby jokes can be very funny. There are a lot of shitty ones. Some are fucking hilarious.
Right.
Does that mean that everyone who's ever laughed at a dead baby joke is a monster? Of course not.
Right. That's the difference. Like
Like,
the just because you decided for a hot minute that something was funny, and even if out of context, like if you're just hearing somebody say something, it can sound fucked up. Yeah, of course it can sound fucked up. But
yeah, like if someone
if you're
tells you
there,
like their kid died or their friend's kid died or whoever, like someone's child died, that is not the correct time or place to make a dead baby joke.
right,
Like
right,
that's stupid. That's a
yeah,
level of
exactly,
stupid that is difficult to comprehend.
exactly,
But that doesn't mean that joke's not funny in different context.
right. That's what I'm saying. Like, and it's also once again, it's a joke because it's a joke.
Yeah.
Well, what's the limit? Well, the limit is that if you don't know, if you're part of a conversation and a joke is thrown out and somehow you're the only one that didn't understand it was a joke, you might want to consider that an aside. You might consider that
You got some shit to deal with. You got some
maybe you
shit
got
to deal with.
maybe you got some shit to deal with. Maybe that's not a group of friends you want to be with anymore. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, I mean that's also very true. That maybe
you gotta look into everything, because if there's like 6 of you and you're the only one not laughing because like it wasn't to go out of somebody's way to hurt somebody, but somebody just cracked a stupid, potentially funny joke and you didn't laugh, but everybody else is laughing. Yeah, you can sit there and be like, wow, you guys are fucked up. Or maybe you are. Maybe you're taking things sometimes too seriously.
right. And if you're the serious friend, I can only hang out with you a little bit.
Like,
I
like
can't
you
hang
can
out with
be
you all the time
like,
if you're a serious friend.
don't get me wrong. I get being serious, but there's sometimes you need to lighten up. Sometimes you
Dude,
need to have comedy.
a good friend of ours has these like mad swings of like sometimes they're very sensitive about shit, like all sorts of shit, like feminist shit, like racial shit, all sorts of shit, just like
Right.
hypersensitive. So then like I basically, if I'm trying to be funny when I'm having conversations, if that's a night I feel like making a lot of jokes, I will
Right.
sometimes throw softballs to see where it's at.
Right.
Because if it's like no reception on softballs, I'm like, I'm not tonight. Can't do it tonight. Because
Not
I don't want to
tonight,
deal with it.
'cause-
I don't want to deal with why the fuck would you say that? Like that's not like I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to deal with it. So it's
I
like
don't
I am,
disagree with
and
that.
then potentially now I can't say that I recall ever have that situation happening. But like if I choose not to make those jokes, like if I'm feeling like a jokey kind of mood, and I choose
Right.
not to make jokes because I feel like they're going to get offended, maybe I'm not having as good a time. I mean, realistically, I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
If I'm essentially having to force my mood into a different direction, force my behavior into a different direction, maybe I'm not having as good a time. Maybe I'm not hanging out, like having as much fun hanging out. But
Right.
like I said, I've made, because at one point I made 2 jokes. Granted, they were like one was very much like a bro joke. And even
Okay.
in retrospect, like, it probably only should be said when like everyone's drinking. Like, it's not a good joke. It's not a good joke.
Sure.
I was talking about being on a dating site. I mean, this was 10 years ago.
Right.
I was talking about being on a dating site, and this lady that I was talking to on the dating site had hit me up. Well, she messaged me first, and she was like, "Oh, it's so cool that you're into old school hip hop like DMX." And I was like, "Yo,
Oh,
should
yeah.
I like tell this bitch that like that DMX is not old school hip hop?" Like, I kind of want to just go off on her. And
Right.
they were like, "Well, it depends. You trying to have sex with this person or no?" And I was like, "So what you're saying is, wait until my penis is in her mouth, and I'd be like,
And
listen,
then
bitch." Right?
listen.
And it was just like, that's a stupid joke, and that's a stupid joke. It's
It's
not.
a stupid
It's a stupid
joke.
bro joke, but they took that very poorly. That did not fly very well. So
Right.
then I was trying to like explain myself, and I was like, no, like, it's not like it's not a joke that you mean. Like, it's a joke you say. Like, when people say, like, make jokes and say lazy Mexicans, like, Mexicans are not lazy. Like, I don't know a single lazy Mexican.
Same.
Like, so like the joke is that is a stereotype that's, I don't want to say 100% not true, because I'm sure there are people who are Mexican that are lazy, but like,
Right. I mean,
but
I'm
like,
sure there's.
like statistically speaking, like, every Mexican I ever met has been like hustling 5, 6, 7 different jobs, and I'm like, who's gonna call this person lazy? So
I'm
like, I
saying,
said
dude.
that, and then they got even more pissed. I ain't speak to that person for 4 months, 6 months, because of those two jokes. And like,
Right.
one was me explaining the first joke being a non like, and that, like I said, and that's why, like, since then, since we reconnected, it's just like a dice, like, it's a dice roll every time. And, some nights
Well,
you
yeah,
hit
man,
snake
and
eyes,
that's and that.
you make a light
Yeah.
ass joke, and they're like, and I'm like, ah, fuck.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. No. 100%. And I mean, that's the like. Here's the thing. Sure. Like, was the joke a good joke? I mean, maybe not for everybody, but like, it was still a joke. Like, you weren't saying it to be legit
right.
or real
I
or
wasn't like, fuck
like
this bitch or whatever. Like, I just,
like there is always gonna be it was like, well, why do we have to say those jokes anyways? Why do they have to? Well,
because sometimes shit is
because
funny. Sometimes inappropriate
sometime
shit is funny.
or sometime or not even that. Sometimes, just sometimes, you have to make light of something that's dark.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Because you have to look at certain situations in the world, and there's a lot of bad shit in the world, and there has historically been a lot of bad shit in the world. But sometimes, like, you gotta look at it from a, like, I'm very much a person that I don't know how to deal with certain situations, like somebody dying, shit like that.
Right.
I get uncomfortable, and like, I just don't know what to say. Like, I don't know what to say to somebody. Like, I went to a wake one time, and I was just sitting there like, what the fuck am I doing here? Like, am I supposed to talk to someone? Should I say some shit to some people? I don't know. I literally don't know what to say or do. And I think I think a lot of people in those kind of situations just laugh.
Right.
Like, they'll just laugh because it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So like, the laughter maybe like alleviates the situation, or it's just nervous laughter that allows you to try and recompose and try to like think of something to say. And it just, making jokes out of situations, like, I don't know. Like, we made fun of our cousin who went on his tirade about how all of this all of this COVID stuff is not real, and they're doing it to to arrest all of the sex traffickers. And I thought that's the funniest shit. But I'm like, God, if someone was to just arrest half of them, a third of them, like, that would be a huge dent.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I would love for
Right.
someone to do that, but like, just her believing it is fucking hilarious. Like, hey, no, I would even be okay I would go personally to every small business that closed if that was the truth. If they came out and they were like, hey, we actually faked the whole coronavirus thing. We arrested all of the sex traffickers in the world. I would go to every small business owner that closed due to COVID and be like, yo, worth it.
Right.
Start a new business. I'll make you a free website.
Right.
Like let's go. I don't worth
Right.
it. Shut up. Shut up.
Yeah.
It was worth it. Like I don't even care. Like
But,
fuck your sandwich shop, Billy. Like
Right. But I mean, like I said, it's. I get things being insensitive. I get things being, you know, uh, inappropriate. But sometimes
yeah.
you just, you gotta. I don't know. You kind of gotta, like I said, you gotta make light of something that's dark just for a little bit. Like, it'll be different if somebody did it consistently every day, 24/7, like constantly.
Yeah.
Even
I know
at that
those
point,
people.
it would
I've
be
met those
right.
people
Even
and
at
I don't hang out
even
with
at
them no
that
more.
point, right? Even at that point, it's like, all right, we get it. You get to get you.
You're
make
edgy.
jokes
We
about
get
it.
it. Let's talk about other
Right.
shit.
Right.
Yeah, we had a kid like that
But
when I was in college. Literally every single he was the kid that found all of the dead baby jokes. All of them.
Right.
On the internet. Like
Right.
he found all of them. Collected them, had a document, like he found them all. And I just like he would read them and I'm like, how many do you have? He's like, a lot. And he would show me this document and it was like 100 pages long. And I was like, what the fuck?
Right.
I'm like, did
Right.
you go to class, bro? Like, what the fuck are you
Right.
doing? Like,
And it's just, and so I get that, but I think once again, I have said this to you before. The problem is we as a society we're instantly reacting to what we hear instead of actually taking some time to absorb of what was said and
Yeah.
then react. So we are used to being uh, feeling insulted by something. So the instant reaction is, "Oh, that's insulting. How dare you?"
right.
Instead of like, "How was it? How was it done? How was it used?" Like actually taking time to think about what you're accusing somebody of. Like perfect example in my opinion. The guy from I don't remember, I don't know his name. I never know his name. But the guy from Flash. He
Yeah.
says some dark humor jokes.
Yeah.
That's what they were.
Jesus.
They were
They
were
were-
dark humor jokes.
They were to say that shit publicly. Like I joke with my wife, and this is gonna sound fucking awful. Like yo, take this out of context, and it's gonna sound like I'm a fucking monster. But
Right.
I tell my wife like fucking keep talking back, you can get your ass beat.
Right.
I've never fucking touched my wife because why? Like
Right.
that's fucking stupid. But
Right.
if I said that on Facebook, I would expect motherfuckers to be mad at me. Like,
Right.
like,
Right.
like he put all of that on Facebook, and he was like, my favorite pastime as a teenager was to what did he say? He's like was to like kidnap women. And like I was
Yeah.
like, what
Yeah.
the fuck? You can't say that
Yeah.
shit on the internet, bro. Like.
Yeah, like it was very dark humor.
Yeah, it was shock jock. It was shock jock shit.
It was, and it was expected from a guy who's trying to be in this industry who was consistently doing comedic roles.
Honestly, I mean, I don't know if I told you this. I think where it came out of, I honestly think like when those were posted was when he was coming out of, maybe in the second season of this series. I forget what channel it was on, but it was a series where he was in college in the 80s.
Hmm.
So that's the only thing I can think of as far as correlation.
Sure.
It felt like it might have, it felt like college humor, not the website, but it felt like college humor because, and then when I saw like what he was doing at the time, and I was like, oh, he was on the show. I think it was like 2010 to 2012 or something like that. I was like, so he was in the middle of this show where he was playing this like bro in the 80s when like that's kind of who people were in college in the 80s.
And he was probably saying some dumb shit.
I mean, I didn't even take a look at the trailer or anything, but
No,
I
no,
was just
but I'm
like, I'm like, if
assuming,
you're
right,
in that, if you're putting yourself in that mindset,
right,
you're likely to just take that to the next level when you go
of
to
course.
like
And
modernize it.
here's a good way of telling if you know if he should have apologized or not. Did he continue to do it while being on Flash for 3 years? Did he do it? From what I'm aware, no.
No, and that's the thing.
In fact,
That honestly, it that's why I posted the question on Facebook. You know, I was like, hey, like how old would a bad joke have to be, like an offensive joke have to be for someone to be forgiven, and based on that number, should they lose their job?
right.
Because you know that was at this point 9 years ago for him.
Yeah.
9 years ago, he said some dark shit, some shit you shouldn't say, like, and you know he made some racist jokes, he made some misogynistic jokes, you know,
Sure.
abuse jokes, like shit that does fuck with people, and I get that.
Yeah.
That's why I said like making these jokes like on Twitter, especially without context, because
Right.
like if you say for the next 24 hours I'm doing a dark humor stand-up special on Twitter, which like I think I just invented something, so you're welcome whoever wants to do this going forward.
Right.
Like
Right.
if you say, "Hey, this like everything I post in the next 24 hours is stand-up. This is me just pitching jokes at y'all."
Right.
That's different than just had lunch and then the next post is I used to kidnap women. Like that's not the same. Like that's
Right.
like where is that coming from? Like if there's no
Right.
and that's the thing is all this shit gets brought up out of context. And when
Yeah.
you don't give it context originally, that makes it even worse because then it just sounds
Yeah.
like you're saying dumb shit and ignorant shit for the sake of saying dumb and ignorant shit.
Right.
Like I get,
Yeah.
you know, I get
Exactly.
that they're supposed to be jokes, but it's yeah, you do have to like consider how you're saying shit. I don't generally think that you need to consider what you're saying, but I think you need to understand the context in which it's being said, and
Right.
which will inform how it's going to be received.
Right.
If you're in a maternity ward, dead baby jokes are off the table. Period.
Yeah. Probably don't.
If
Probably don't
you're in a
wanna.
maternity ward waiting room, dead baby jokes no go. That's like my
Right.
official stance. Like
Um.
I just it's one of like it's little things like I just don't get it. I don't get it. I think some of the funniest gay jokes are from gay people. Like my friend of mine, Matthew, he says some shit that I'm like, I would never have said that, but that shit's funny. Like,
Right.
like,
Right.
but like, it's just certain shit. Like, you would not say it because depending on who's around, like people get weird reactions to shit. Like
Right.
you don't know what people have going on in their head. You might say some
Of
shit.
course. Yeah.
You might say some shit that's innocuous. You know, you might. I'm trying to think of something that isn't like awful, but like, you might say you might make like a car crash joke, right?
Right.
Somebody might have lost a family member in a car crash that's sitting right
Right.
next to you, and you don't know that. They just don't talk about it, but that
Right.
just fucks their day up.
Right.
Like, it's like it's a dick move. So like, consider where
Yeah.
you are. But if you
Yeah.
don't know, and you make that joke for the sake of making a joke, I don't
Right.
think I don't think that makes you a bad person. That doesn't
No,
make you a
not at
bad
all,
person. Like
because-
you're not the
because-
asshole there, but if you don't apologize,
Right. Right. For
because
sure.
like,
It was like,
then it's
sorry,
different.
it's
Like
just-
there is again context, and we've
Right.
at this point 76 times at least. I think 77 times we've said context fucking matters.
Of course, yeah. But I mean, even if the like the person apologizes and they were like, yeah, maybe you shouldn't do that joke. You wouldn't have to apologize, right? That's their reply back. It's like maybe to me, then that person like has deeper issues that need to be
Yeah, because that's
you wanna-
you want the whole world to cater to your needs, and that's meh.
right, and that's at the end of the day, that's just gonna be uh and that's just how it's going to be per individual person, per each individual situation, or just in general how it appears to be the way the world's going. in my opinion, if we can't, if we're going to a point where somebody overhears a conversation or overhears a joke and they're insulted, and then they call you out on it, like, this was an AB conversation, see your way out of it. Like,
I fully believe that.
it's
If it's a
just like,
stranger, if it's a stranger coming up to you, A, why are you listening to my
like,
conversation? B, why do
yeah, I
you
mean,
care what I think about anything? Even if
and
that wasn't a
once again,
joke, even if I was serious, who the fuck
right,
am I to
right,
you?
right. Even if I was serious and I was serious with my friend, right? But even taking something in context of like social media and somebody randomly tweeting something, yes, they are a somebody. Apparently, they are somebody because a lot of people know who they are due
Right.
to acting. But at the end of the day, even if they do tweet something, what does it matter to us?
Oh, well, I
I mean,
I
yes,
feel
yes, I
you.
get it, I get it, I get it. Their younger audience is impressionable.
It's
Of
not.
course
I
they
don't even
are.
think it's not
Of
even.
course they
It's
are.
not even so much
If
about
that,
the younger audience. Honestly, what I think the concern is with, especially with racial humor. I think that's the kind of shit, and even shit that's not said as humor, but shit that's said ignorantly. Like, I don't
of
know
course,
that Roseanne was actually saying that to be like, oh, this person who is black is a monkey. Because that's like, I forget the thing she said, but it, like, she was making fun of some
she,
senator,
yeah,
and
yeah,
she compared her to a monkey. Uh, and I don't think, I don't know that she knew who that person was, except for by name. I don't know that she knew what she looked like,
right,
and I don't know that her intent was racist. Like, I don't know that
right,
her
right,
intent was to be like, oh, she's black, so I'm gonna call her a monkey. I don't
sure,
like. I don't know that that was a thing.
right,
But even if it wasn't, to someone who already thinks that shit, they see someone as big as Roseanne say some shit, essentially regardless of the context,
hmm,
it reinforces them, and now they put on a Klan hood and go fucking, lynch a kid.
oh no, absolutely, yeah, 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 no doubt.
For people who
But
are
then,
known, it's a little, there's a little more responsibility just because their shit is
sure,
publicly
sure,
consumable.
sure. No, absolutely. So we should get rid of any media that discusses or shows that kind of uh, harshness. Any media. I'm talking about movies that were created that have that within them, because those people who might be taking that seriously and saying, "Hey, it's okay, it's right there." Somebody that's got
But
people that know
I
them
understand what you're
said
saying,
it.
but I think what you're saying is an extreme reaction to it,
No,
because
no, 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 no. It's not an
no, no, hear me
extreme
out,
reaction.
hear me
It's
out.
hold on. Let me hear me out. Hear me out. Because I don't think it's an extreme reaction. Because I firmly believe that if an individual knows or has heard of Rose, and they're like, oh, they got a Twitter. Oh, let's see what they said today. Oh, they said something like this. I'm going to be part of that. That just tells me that person, no matter who they heard it from, when they heard it from, where they saw it from, that person's going to react that way as soon as they have confirmation that in their head that was the right thing to say. Doesn't matter if it's Roseanne, doesn't matter if it's, I don't know, Robert Downey Jr., doesn't matter if it was Jesus himself, or nobody in school. That person was going to be swayed that way because they've already had that in their head. It just happens to be that now I get it. Well, if everybody talks about how it's wrong, bro, we have everybody talking about how it's wrong. For instance, with like the whole George Floyd thing. Yet I still see, oh, there's a George Floyd contest. Oh, there's still people that say there was nothing done wrong. Oh, there's still the KKK and the other people who hate. Even though 51% of the population in the world is telling them they're wrong. Some people, if they are already on a path to hate, does not matter where it comes from. They are most likely gonna go towards that path.
And that's exactly the point. Most likely, they're not guaranteed, and depending on,
Some are, some are.
I
I've
mean,
seen
yeah,
people. I've
it
seen
depends. Of
people
course,
who
it
have
depends
grown
on.
up in a
It depends.
perfect scenario, and they've still become monsters.
Of course,
So
it depends on each individual, but the potential is there that the right or wrong word can sway someone. The right or
of
wrong
course,
experience
but
can
that's
sway
what I'm.
someone.
But that's
So,
what I'm
like, that's
saying.
why I think that's what I'm saying. I just think that celebrities on their social media have a larger responsibility. And to your point of, well, let's just get rid of all the movies, the show, Klan and all that shit. It's different because I would say overwhelming majority, if not all movies about that, certainly all studio movies, are made to create. They're created in such a way that presents those things as bad or evil, and it shows why they're wrong during the story. It does not glorify them.
Yeah. No,
So
of course,
it's
absolutely.
different because if you see
But
someone,
my
if you see
question,
someone
so
who you
my
like and respect say
sure.
that shit, because it's different in a movie.
Let me ask you this. But let me ask you this: if majority of population of the world is telling people this was fucked up, and there are still people that are like, haha, this is funny.
Yeah, but
Let's do
those
the
yeah, but
challenge.
those people are already fucked. I'm not talking about those people.
Well, then this conversation's irrelevant because those people are already fucked. So if everybody who saw Roseanne in this situation, a tweet from her, we know she was wrong. Or we at least we assume we know that she was wrong.
Right.
But maybe what she's saying is right. But like in the sense of like I was fucked up. I was on drugs. I actually don't know. Maybe everything she said after
Right.
that was actually true, but we didn't give her the time
I mean,
because we were right.
people did, but like the company that makes that drug flat out said like this doesn't make you racist. This doesn't make you say shit like
No, for sure.
like
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I've seen plenty of companies that make drugs that say, oh, yeah, no, it doesn't do that. Because,
yeah, but
because,
they're usually biological responses, not very rarely are they
sure, but regardless,
divergent psychological. Because the
regardless,
thing about her was that it was we're the focus is now on this specific story, but the thing about her was that first she said, "Oh, that's not what I meant," and then it was
right,
like, "Oh,
but that's
it
not,
was the
right, but at
drugs."
the end, right, that's not what I don't care about her story or what I'm saying is that even if it is a person with a following,
Mm-hmm.
if they say something in the sense of potentially just something fucked up or dark humor, even if they are known, that doesn't automatically mean that's it, they're done.
No, I don't think so either. But like it's not. I don't think that they're like my Twitter and I'm trying to think someone who's like a couple levels above. Let's say Peter McKinnon, although he's like way up there. Whatever. Peter McKinnon's Twitter and my Twitter have different levels of responsibility. Don't nobody follow my Twitter. Like bot channels. Like I literally don't think anyone besides you or our other channels or our other Twitters follow my Twitter. My Twitter
Right.
does not have the level of responsibility in what I post because
Right.
I am unlikely to influence anyone. I'm just some schmuck on the internet.
Right.
Peter McKinnon says some shit. He's got people that literally follow his every word. So if he says some shit, now you got people considering some shit. Now you got people looking at it. And even if 99.9% of those people are like, man, that's fucked up. But one person's like, I see what he's saying. That's not good. Like if he were to somehow magically fucking post something, negative and bad. I think there is a higher responsibility placed on those who have a bigger audience. And that's the same reason that they put, celebrities on the go out and vote posters, because P. Diddy telling you to go vote carries a little more weight than, Pete from down the street.
That At the end of the day, man, if you're a human being and you can't think for yourself, that's on you. If you're in,
The problem is,
if,
it's not on them only. It affects the rest of us.
well, it affects the rest of us in the sense of like, yeah, we have to deal with that human being, but at the end of the day, that human being wasn't going to be who they were going to be with the decisions that they continue to make. Just because somebody um, has an audience does, in my personal opinion, just because somebody has an audience doesn't mean they're responsible for every one of those audience members. No,
No.
I'm
I don't
sorry,
think they're responsible for the audience members. Absolutely not. No,
but
because
that's
because we
what it
because
feels like people are
because
saying
we've
though.
seen yeah, and some people are saying that. I think that's entirely incorrect. We've seen people like try to go down that route, and you had I forget who it was, but there was like a bunch of people who followed like one person that ended up like comment bombing someone else because that person said like, oh, they said this and they're wrong or whatever. So then like half of their audience went over and just like attacked the shit out of this person.
Right,
And in one case, I think somebody even got doxxed. And then you have motherfuckers now having to like put disclaimers in videos when they're like, hey, like blah blah blah, I don't like this person. Don't go over there and say some shit now. That's not what this is
right,
about. I'm just
right,
voicing my opinion. Like it turns into something where now they're like this additional responsibility is forced on them because you have people that are idiots and they go act on people's words on the
right,
internet. No,
right,
I don't think people. I don't think creators are responsible for their audiences. I just think that they are responsible for the words that come out of their mouth and the words that they put on their platforms. I just think they have a higher responsibility than those of us who don't have this huge platform. I just think it's a little different. Like I say the things I say and how I say them now on YouTube. Like I curse more now, and because I am directing my content to the 17 and above crowd. I don't know how to talk to, a 16-year-old, 15-year-old, 14-year-old. Like I don't know how to
right,
talk to freshmen in high school. 17, like
right,
you're a senior, you're going to be graduating soon, like you got to make decisions, there's some shit like you got some adult responsibilities coming up at
right,
17. But like at
right.
16, worst case scenario, you just got a car and the only thing you need to do is not hit someone with it. Like like that's the most important thing going on in your life. That's the biggest decision you have to make. God willing, hopefully you don't have any other shit going on.
Possibly.
But
Right.
but for the most part, like I don't know nothing about the Gen Zers. I don't know shit about them, dude. So I can't talk to them. I can talk in a general sense, or I can talk to people with responsibilities. That's why I talk about like fixing shit around the house when I need to. Like that's why the follow through video that I just put out, I talked about like, oh, I got shit around the house that I got to do. Like adults who have residences know what that feels like. like,
Sure.
like even if you're living in an apartment, like there's always shit around the house that you just been meaning to do but been putting off.
Right.
People know how, like people relate to that. Otherwise that's why I don't talk about like homework and shit like that. Like I feel like there's a lot of adults on YouTube who kind of try to cater to everyone, and they talk about like, oh, like home, like if you're doing your homework or whatever, and I'm like, dude, you're like at least 10 years removed from homework. You don't even know what that means. Shit, I definitely don't know what that means right now. Like they're teaching these kids way different. Like I saw something from our friend Rachel's, who's outside right now. They're having a little sit down on the patio, but like her kids are like first and second grade, something like that. She showed like some of the early like how they teach numbers and shit, and I was like, bro, I can't follow this, and this is first and second grade because they're teaching shit way different now. It's just a different method of teaching. I tried to do they did multiplication tables for Corey's kids, and I looked at this sheet and it's this whole thing with tens and it's a bunch of tens on this board. It's like a sheet with tens, and I'm like, you, how do you do like? I can't do 9 times 9 when you got to involve a third number because they use like tens and then you add up tens and I'm like,
Yeah, Common Core is stupid.
I was like,
Yeah.
I'm like, I couldn't do this with a gun to my head. Like, if I required to do Common Core to save my life, I'm gonna call some friends and say goodbye. Like, I just
Yeah.
have no fucking clue what's going on. It's like I can't relate to kids no more. You know, I'm a grown ass man now. You got to talk to grown ass people. like I get there.
I mean,
You're gonna have those like I don't call them extreme cases, but you're gonna have those standout cases that are really driven, really focused, and like they're already doing shit they want to do. That's different. I feel like that at that point, if you are 16 and you're like in advanced classes and you're doing, you know, the career kind of shit that you want to do, I feel like if there are those people, you're just those are the driven people. They're gonna be seeking out that information, and that's different. I think that's different.
Right.
But they already know how to handle homework and shit like that. So like, I'm not worried about that. Like, if you're driven at 16, homework is the least of your problems. Like,
right. I don't know, man. I just, you know, on my end, I don't agree with it. I think I get the notion. They are popular people. Some people, you know, some people really go by their word,
right.
right? But in my opinion, that's not up to that individual. That's a problem with society. That's a problem with human beings, that they attach themselves to somebody they don't know, who they think they know, and they follow every word they say, or you know, accept everything that's said. Even if it was said as a joke, they took it seriously and are utilizing to do their life by that
Right.
joke. That's an issue with people.
Yeah.
That
100%.
that's
100%.
that to me, you're taking away. How can I put it? You're taking away. Well, essentially, you're taking, because you're somebody. Because you're somebody of an influence, I guess would be the way to use it. Um, Essentially, you have fame. You
Right.
no longer have the freedom to express or freedom of speech, because you'll instantly get uh, destroyed, and instantly, if not instantly, your job will be on the line. But if you're
I
Joe
see what you're saying.
Schmo,
I see what you're saying.
but if you're Joe Schmo and you said that shit, your job's still fine, and nobody gives a flying fuck of what you said.
To a point, I mean, I think there are businesses that are like checking people's social media and shit like that. So there is
So
that.
yeah, I'm sure there are. Yeah,
But
I'm sure
it's
they are.
I think for more so than anything, it's, you know, from the aspect of, oh, if you're on social media and you work for us, you represent us. That's why, you know, we don't talk about where we work. Like, you could do a really thorough search on the internet. It'd be very difficult for you to figure out where I work, and that's not
Right.
a challenge. Like, please don't do that. It's fucking wasting your time. You don't gain shit out of it.
Right.
But like, I made a point to not make that call, to like not talk about that directly, because I don't want to talk for them. That's my day job. I don't give a shit about them.
Yeah, I don't. But that's the thing. I think the same thing applies to uh, actors, right? Their day job is to act,
Right.
or even
So
comedians.
you're saying now I will say that, you know, let's say Brian Gustin, because I think he's the only one that I know the name of on Flash. Brian Gustin on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, he doesn't speak for the Flash. He doesn't speak for DC. He doesn't speak for Warner Brothers.
You mean Grant?
Did I say Brian? God damn it. See, that's my
You
point.
did.
I don't know
I'm
fucking
like,
anybody on those shows. I don't know
what are you
nobody's
talking-
goddamn names.
I'm like, who's
Grant
Brian?
Gustin. I was like, I feel like that's wrong.
Grant Gustin.
Grant Gustin.
Okay, Grant.
So Grant Gustin
Grant,
gets on Twitter, says some dumb shit, and let's say it's not racist or like offensive, just stupid.
okay.
He's not speaking for DC. He's not speaking for the CW. He's not speaking for the
Right.
Flash.
Right.
But I think you're right. But I think he does. He stands up to higher scrutiny, because people would then be like,
He
"Oh,
does.
like, what the fuck's wrong with this guy?" And like,
Yeah,
people
yeah.
would attack him, because that's And you know what? I watch a lot of Andrew Schultz. I watch a lot of the Flagrant 2 podcast. I watch a lot of Brilliant Idiots. And he makes a lot of good points, a lot of interesting points. From 30 Rock, what is that guy's name? Tracy Morgan. Tracy Morgan said some shit on Twitter. I don't know what it was. I don't think it was like that bad or whatever. But he said some shit on Twitter, and people got up in arms about it. And he made the point that it wasn't so much what he said. It was that he had become this household character. Like, people talked about the character Tracy from the show to the degree that what he said as Tracy Morgan on Twitter as himself didn't fit into their narrative of what this character is and who this character is and what he would say. So they weren't mad at Tracy Morgan for being a comedian and saying some comedian shit on the internet. They were mad that this guy is trying to like make the character that they know say some shit that they don't think he should be saying. It's actually, it goes down the same rabbit hole that I think, and I'm going to tell you something in a minute here, the same rabbit hole that the whole Comicsgate community falls into. Those people who are like, oh, we don't like that Captain America's written this way. Like, he would never say that. Because, like, you as the consumer of the medium now find yourself, and you and others agree that this character behaves a certain way, and that is a fixed narrative to be told from. Like, Captain America would do this, and he would only do this, and he would never do anything different. Like, so you're not allowing this character to grow, evolve, or change, and that's where I think a lot of the Comicsgate people came out of is, oh, we don't like the way the stories are being told because, oh, now Captain America's black, or now Captain America's an old guy, now, like, this, and this. Like, it's a bunch of different shit that happened, and none of it fell into their little box of what Captain America is, or what X-Men is, or whatever. There are a lot of people that, due to the current X-Men series, nope, don't remember his name, whatever, the writer, what he's doing currently, some people don't like it. Some people think it's like too much and it's too risque and all that. By the way, they are 100%, this is a completely different thing, fucking tangents. They are 100% doing polyamory because the most recent issue of Wolverine, no, X-Force that I read, Jean like quits the X-Force squad because she's like, I fucking can't deal with this. A lot of fucking killing and dark shit. Like, I'm not really trying to deal with this. He's like, yeah, like, I knew you weren't gonna cut it. He's like, you're too good for this. And she like gets naked and gets in this hot tub with him, and she's like, you think I'm too good for this? Does that also does that also mean that you think I'm too good for you? And then she like leans on him, and then they cut away. And I was like, motherfuckers, they're just going at this, because they definitely shown her and Scott kissing. So at the very base least, she's fucking both of them. but there was a scene where him and Scott were talking, and he was talking about some party or whatever, and he's like, well, Scott said, oh, well, you'd have to see me in a Speedo, and Wolverine says, well, now I have to go. And I'm like, I mean, that's cool, because that's what I said a fucking year ago, because I literally was like, wait, Scott died, Jean died, and Wolverine died. Like, they all died. So, like, Scott and Jean's marriage is dissolved because they both fucking died. So it's till death do us part. It did them part. And when they came back, I was like, they should just make them just a poly couple, because then we just don't have to deal with this, like, get your hands off my girl, Logan. Because I fucking hated that. That was like the longest running bullshit trope in this fucking comics. Because every like 3 to 5 years, someone would have like the risque cover of Jean and Wolverine kissing, and it's like, ooh, but it's like for 1 second, and no one talks about it ever again. But then I was like, I'm just so sick of that whole thing. Can we just like make them a poly couple? And then when the new guy came in, Jonathan Hickman, I think that's right. He came in, and I saw that, and I was like, he read my fucking mind. That's what's up. Just like get rid of the bullshit, like, drama. And I'm like, these people have been around for ages. They all have 30 lifetimes like between the lot of them, under their belt. They've dealt through everything: time travel, interdimensional travel, space travel, dead people, resurrected people, alien invasions, fucking being possessed by alien, all of it. Fucking everything you could have happen to you, they've all had happen to them.
Right.
At some point, shit like straight and gay and all that shit doesn't fucking matter. Like, I could just, at some point, you're just like, I'll fucking try anything at this point. Wolverine's been around 400 fucking years. Like,
Right.
you tell me he hadn't fucked everybody at this point?
Right.
I imagine he fucked Xavier at some point. Anyways, what I was saying is, people don't like that. People saw that shit, and people were like, fuck that. Like, this is fucking too risque and too, like, weird or whatever. And they left. And it's this idea of, like, this is what X-Men is. I was actually just reading something on a collector page on Facebook. A bunch of these people who are like, oh, I collect X-Men. But then they're like, I have this run, and then I have this later run. Should I collect the stuff in between? I heard it's bad. I'm like, if you're an X-Men fan, read it. If you're just collecting because someone else says it's good, I mean, I guess ask other people, because I'm an X-Men fan. I read all of it because I like the X-Men. Like, I'm not like, oh, well, this was a bad X-Men story, so I'm not going to collect these books. Like,
Right.
I mean, I really don't know how you can do that, because to me, it all builds on each other. Like, it's a continuous story. It's like saying Arrow season 4 wasn't good, right? A lot of drama. We talked about it. Yeah, but
few of them seasons.
Right? But like, if you're gonna be like, I love the Arrow, but I just don't watch season 4. I go to 3 to 5, and I'm like, you can't. That's not how it works. Like,
Right.
You can't just skip seasons, motherfucker. Like, that's the whole point of narrative storytelling. It's a continuous story. That's not how it works. I just don't get that. I don't get why people just have this set thing of what a character is supposed to say, and if it's live action, that person. Like, I imagine if Grant Gustin went on Facebook or like went on a live video and just like was just bopping along to some like hardcore rap, just like was working on something, let's say, or working out, but just like the hardest hardcore like immortal technique, people would be like, I don't understand. That's the Flash doesn't like rap. Like, people just wouldn't get it. Like, they wouldn't get the disassociation of, like, that's a person. He gets to have his own opinions. Like,
Right. That's the thing. I mean, but that's the problem. The problem isn't that these people have their own opinions and sometimes they voice it. The problem is we as a society, we can't. Well, first of all, one of the biggest problems that we as a society have is that if it ain't the opinion we want, it's wrong. So that already is one big problem in society that we have. The other big problem is if it ain't our opinion and they are wrong, well, I don't want them around. I don't want them there. And just because you don't agree with somebody doesn't mean you can't understand that they are not going to agree with you. Like, they can't be part of a world that you're in.
right.
Like, that's a problem that we have.
100%. There is this mentality of, well, we can't have dissenting voices. We can't have people that don't agree with us. And I think that's extreme on every side of the argument, right? On every side of every argument. You can't have I'll take that back. There are certain arguments that you don't get to be the dissenting opinion, because there is no opinion. There is good and evil and right and wrong. And you could be wrong or you could be evil, but we get to not stand for that. I.e., sex trafficking. Like, there's no positive.
Yeah.
There's no like good guy on that side of the argument,
right?
Because that's just an evil person. But on opinion-based subjects, if we can't have discourse, if we can't have conversation between people who disagree, then shit will never get better.
Yeah, 100%. That's the problem. Like, it's not it's not just if we don't agree religiously or politically or spiritually,
Mm-hmm.
but it's also like, for instance, that guy from The Flash, he said some jokes. A lot of people didn't agree that they were not funny, but then we made them into something they probably weren't, which was anything outside of being just dark
No,
jokes.
Penny's upstairs. Yeah.
And that's a big problem, because the minute we start taking something that was clearly and evidently just to be just the same thing that what's his nuts did, the guy from Guardians, what's the director,
James Gunn.
um James Gunn, same thing that James Gunn did. He was in a particular time during his career where he wanted to be
I
extreme
remember. I'm
to
trying to
grab
think.
people
Were
attention.
those as bad? James Gunn's
and uh
tweets.
and uh and we took it more than that. We took it like, oh, this is unacceptable. What's unacceptable?
Okay. Whoa. Whoa. Jesus Christ. This is some rough shit.
Yeah, but at the
Holy
end of the
crap.
day, but at
I
the
mean,
end of
listen,
the day,
listen.
that
This is
was
this is an honest podcast, so we're gonna pop this up. But holy shit. Did that come on? Yeah, it did. Man. I'm not gonna say some of this shit. Wow. Wow. Jesus. Yeah. No. That's rough.
yeah, but once again, taking them out of what it is, it's rough, right?
Yeah. I mean, like, I'll say this one because Jesus, but still, Jesus Christ. The Expendables was so manly. I fucked the shit out of the little pussy. Oh God, no, I fucked up. That's still bad. Somebody like little pussy boy next to me, and Jesus Christ, holy shit, that is rough shit.
Yeah,
That
it's
is
rough,
rough
hundred
shit.
percent. Of
But
course, it's
but
rough.
here's the thing, he did lose his job. He did lose his job. Disney reviewed the whole situation. They waited until the whole thing died down and they hired him back.
Right.
Now, I would say the jokes that the elongated man, I always forget his damn name, uh, that he made are as bad.
They're literally, actually, I never looked at James Gunn's um tweets. Those are just as bad as
Yeah. The only
literally
the only thing James
equivalently
Gunn
bad.
didn't do the only thing James Gunn didn't do is the racist stuff. The other guy did do
I'm
some a
still
bunch.
trying to I'm still trying to figure out what racist stuff, because I've looked up the tweets multiple times. I still haven't
What is his
seen,
name?
like,
What's his name?
it's Hartley Sawyer.
Hartley Sawyer tweets. Let's see here. We're gonna turn it on. This is women's stuff.
Like, so here's
this right here. This right here is like a mildly racist tweet, like he says. The only thing stopping me from doing mildly racist tweets is the knowledge that Al Sharpton would never stop complaining about me. There was it says out at dinner and just exposed myself as racist again.
right. But here's my question: what is racist about those tweets?
Um, well, just like the desire to be racist, I guess.
I mean, that's reading into uh 8-word tweet. You're reading and reaching at best. Like, what you accept, what that means, is on you. How you view that is on you.
Man, where?
But I'm looking at that right now. First of all, I mean, I don't find it funny, but at the same time, I'm just like,
I thought there
what
was
are
some.
these
I thought he
random?
has said something else.
But that's the thing. I haven't found anything. Now, there were some female
Jesus Christ.
jokes that could have been extreme.
He said
but
dozing off on the couch like a child molester / my brother.
right,
Fuck.
right. So, like, shit like that. But once again, like he just called his brother a child molester. Like clearly, that's a joke. That's a dark joke,
Yeah, no, I mean, and
right? So
it's one
so
of
at
those
the
it's
end of
one of
the
those things
day,
that I don't know if I don't know if they would hire him back. I wouldn't be shocked if they decided, oh hey, like we reviewed the situation, like the whole heat of it has died down, we're gonna hire him back because it was so long ago. His apology, I will say, his apology was very uh, well done. As far as he did not talk about the fact like I lost my job and I'm like it sucks that I lost my job or anything like that. He was very much like I have been taking like I have been doing a lot of work on myself behind the scenes and like obviously the problem is that I haven't shared that because like this is not what I think anymore. This is not how I behave. Like he very much I think did a good approach to the situation. He didn't. It wasn't like "woe is me, I lost my job" kind of shit.
right?
So I think there is the potential of him getting hired back on for the next whatever season. But I don't know that he will. I feel like if they're gonna
I'm certain he
recast
won't.
Batwoman, I feel like they're just gonna recast someone else.
Yeah, I'm certain he
If they're
won't.
gonna recast Batwoman, I just don't know what else they're gonna do.
I'm like just looking at this like I know for a fact that they won't hire him
And it's one
back.
of those things like I would say go to the people he's worked for the last 3 years.
Right, well
Is
that's
he
the
a piece
thing.
of shit on set? If he's a piece of shit on set. Like,
Well
all
then
right,
that's
cool,
that,
fuck him.
right? Then
Like,
he's a piece of shit, right?
like
Then that's
if
simple as
he's
that.
if he's like, but the thing is, I feel like we would have heard some shit come out. I feel like if he was an asshole, if he was sexist,
Yeah,
people
you
like
think
that people like that can't help it.
you
So I
think
feel
Grant
like
Gustin wouldn't have said anything?
I mean, Grant Gustin. Even not even just Grant Gustin, but I mean like people who work on the show, like any female crew, like people like that can't help themselves. They're not like they're not sexist only behind closed doors. Like they're just sexist and they say shit and do shit and sadly grab on people and shit like that. Is one of those things
Correct.
that like somebody from the crew, somebody from the cast would have said something if
Right.
at least when this all came out, if not sooner. But I just, with none of that having happened, I just don't think. I don't think the guy's a monster. I don't think the guy's a monster.
I think if he was truly a monster, everybody on the cast of The Flash would have called him out after within the first season. Within the first season of him being there, they would have called him out and fired him.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
So what that tells me is, yeah, the guy said some shit on Twitter. Yeah, he did. But we can move on because if he hasn't done it
I agree.
since,
I agree. I feel like we should be able to move on, but that is what it is.
and that's the problem, and that's the problem. And to me, to me, the biggest issue that happens here is, and this kind of one of the biggest things I think that is a problem with all of this, is that due to majority of people losing their shit, or not majority, but a shit ton of people lost their shit after seeing the tweets, and so boom, they say he's fired, right? But then people like Grant and people like Stephen Amell, they come out and they say some shit about him, and they say like that his tweets back then were not okay. I'm like, was he like this on the set? I don't give a shit about his tweets back then. You playing into these people that are upset now over 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 euro tweets.
Yeah, and also the thing about it for me is the only reason that came out, a, I don't even think he's that big of a celebrity. First of all,
No, not at all,
he's
dude.
not even a
I've
leading dude
never,
of the show.
I never even recognized the dude until I started watching CW, and then they started showing the CW seed where he's a robot in a zombie apocalypse.
I
Like,
don't know what you're
and
talking about, but it sounds like
and
something I
even
should watch.
and it was a comedy show, and even then I was like, never even heard of that show, so I don't know who this guy was until the Flash.
Right.
No idea.
Interesting.
So
Did not know
to
that was a
me,
show.
to me, I'm sitting here and I'm like, listen, Flash, I'm glad that you're saying that the tweets he did back then uh, could have been wrong, depending on the situation, like how he was trying to play those off, right? Why was he putting those out there? But my question to you is, the 3 years you've been working with him, or
Right.
whatever, 3 4 years, has he been a dick to you or anybody on
Right.
that set?
Yeah. I mean, like,
Has he, not just a dick, has he said some shit
we
that's
can't,
like, you're like, what the fuck?
if we're gonna maintain this ridiculous prison system in this country, we need to at least pretend to believe in redemption and reparations and like making amends for shit you did wrong.
Right.
So to me, if he has corrected his behavior, and from all evidence he appears to have corrected his behavior,
Right. From what I'm seeing.
he's apologized for it. He, I guess I don't know how else you could make amends or how else you could like make it right. But at the same time, I think, again, like we said, it's jokes. It was jokes. It was shitty, dark humor, whatever jokes.
Just like
But like,
with
how do
Kevin
you
Hart,
how do you
just
make that
like
right? How do you make that right?
just like with Kevin Hart, just like
Somebody,
with anybody else.
I think it was Andrew Schultz that was talking about. He was talking about the Kevin Hart situation, and he's like, what pissed me off is that he said he wasn't going to apologize, and then he spent 2 weeks on every TV show apologizing.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's just and once again, this just happens to be that guy we're talking about. I'm not. I don't really, at this point. I don't necessarily care for his situation. Like, whatever his situation is, it is what it is. But I'm talking just in general. Like, if this is the reaction that we're gonna have because
Yeah.
somebody goes back, 10 years from that point, and they're like, "That's it. This is who this person is." Like, really? That's how you? That's it? That's your understanding of how humans work?
Dude,
That was it.
the person I was 10 years ago, which would have been just a year before I met my wife, would not have been able to secure the relationship with my wife because 10 years ago, I was not the same person that I was 9 years ago. And after I met her, within 3 weeks, I already evolved because my bitch made behavior was going to drive a wedge between us. Cause I was like being all like obsessive, like, oh, did I offend you? Blah, blah, blah. Like I was just afraid of losing her kind of shit.
Right.
And I was like,
Right.
and she basically was like, look, I'm not dealing with this. Like, you can't, like, I don't have time for this shit. I work. I have shit to do. Like, figure this out or this isn't going to work. Literally that night I drove home and I'm like, Wesley Snipes, Denzel Washington. I'm Denzel Washington staring in the rear view like in fucking Training Day. And I'm just like, what's it going to be? You're going to fucking lose her or you're going to get your shit together? And like, I got my shit together. Cause like,
Yeah, man.
so
I
like
mean,
me 8 years and 3/4 years ago was a different person than I was 9 years ago than a person I was 10 years ago. Like it's
Exactly.
just to tell me some shit I said 10 years ago should be held over my head and I should lose my job. That's hard. That's hard,
Bro,
man.
there's many days I go back and I think about some of the shit that I might have said or done around people.
Dude.
And I'm like, why did I say or do those things back then?
Yeah, and you try to figure it out
But
because you're an adult.
But at the end of the day, all I need to know is that I don't, and it's time to move on.
Yep.
Because I can't change what I did back then.
Correct. You cannot undo shit. You can do better.
Just can't. Just
And
simply
and
cannot
I
change
think
what I did.
honestly, I think if you look back and you're like, here's some crazy shit I did or said 10 years ago, 5 years ago, and you're like, what the fuck was I thinking?
Right.
That just asking that question means that you are a different and better person already.
Absolutely.
There's just
Because you're learning.
You've
You're
already, yeah, you've
accepting
already
change.
learned. You're already looking at that, and you're like, why on earth was that even a question?
So to me, at the end of the day, I think if we continue to go the route that we are,
Right.
I think in general, human society, civilization is in a sad state, and it will continue to be in a sad state because essentially what we're saying is we don't accept that people change.
Yeah. And like I said, if we're going to maintain all these prisons, we have to. Like, you can't tell me that you're putting someone in for 25 years for no reason.
Right.
The goal in 25 years is for that person to come out and not do the shit that put him in there for 25 years.
Right.
But if you're telling me that we don't believe that people can change, just death penalty everybody then. Fuck it.
I'm saying.
If we don't believe people can change,
What's
then
the point?
if you have a violent crime against you, if you did a manslaughter case,
Fuck it, I don't even care at this point. I don't care at this point.
Everybody.
If you're gonna end up in jail, no matter what you've done, I don't give a shit if it's something simple as drug dealing to fucking something as horrible as murder or rape. Why not just put him right away in the death penalty?
Well, I think. I mean,
from what you're telling me,
willful rape. I think. I don't even think you leave the fucking arrest scene. I think they put you in the gutter.
Yeah, of course, that's a whole different conversation.
I wouldn't even waste my time with that motherfucker. Like going through the courts.
I'm not talking about what morally should be right or wrong. I'm talking about if we're gonna be thinking this way, why not just then have that? That's the final answer.
What's the point? What's the point of courts? What's the point? Yeah, if you catch someone doing something, there's undeniable proof. Fuck it, like call it.
Yeah.
Judge, jury, and executioner. Then if you've got proof, if you've got it on camera, kind of shit. But no, we believe that people can change. Like we pretend to at least believe that people can change.
Pretend.
And yeah, I think that's just what it is there, man. But to swing back around, I don't want to keep beating this dead horse.
Yeah.
Swing back around to what I originally started. I don't know how. I really don't even know how we got to this tangent.
I don't either, man.
We started talking about the voice acting representation, and I want to ask you a simple question. When you watched The Simpsons back in the day, and Apu came on screen, did you think that's a white person, or did you think that is an Indian man?
Man, I thought I was watching a cartoon and I was laughing. At no point. Listen, I thought Bart Simpson was a young boy. Okay,
right. Not a middle-aged woman.
Female.
Not a middle-aged woman.
Yeah. So yeah, did I watch that and I was thinking, yeah, this is who these cartoon characters are.
So my point is, while there is 100% a conversation that needs to be had about representation in film, and I think in live action, I think we do need to focus more on film. Even in cartoons, we need to focus more on representation.
Of course, yeah,
because
absolutely.
we need to have more diversity in these. Like it's just we need to. America is not a sheet of white paper. That's not what America looks like. That's not what the world looks like. It's just a matter of getting the stuff done. What we have is a situation, and I actually found a newer article where Kristen Bell.
Yeah.
She's leaving the one show. I think it's Big Mouth.
She is.
She's on Big Mouth. I think
She's
leaving. She's leaving that show, and of her own volition. And they talked about it, and blah blah blah. I now have additional information than the last time we talked about this.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, when they made her name, I guess the character's name is Molly. The creator or the director or whatever, the showrunner, says Kristen was always meant to be Molly, and Molly was always going to be Kristen. But Molly also was always going to be mixed race.
Mm-hmm.
And there was no way to change that. And I'm sitting there like, so they wrote the character for her because of her voice acting ability, because of her talent, which in my head is how you would do that.
Right.
I want to hire people that can do the thing that I want them to do, regardless of who they are.
Bro, I've
Like
talked
that,
to you.
I just don't understand.
We've talked about this outside the podcast, and it's simple. Let me ask the audience, whoever listens to this, whenever they're listening to it, if it's 10 years from now, or if it's
Or live
2
now in the
days
chat.
from now, or live now in the chat. Let me ask you this. So if it's wrong for somebody to play a voice act, let me be a little bit more specific.
Yeah.
If it's wrong for somebody to voice act a ethnicity or sex that is different from their own, then why do we accept dubbing of any anime ever created?
Specifically dubbing by white people or Americans,
Yes.
because of characters that are very clearly in Japan.
Yeah.
And they're like when motherfuckers are in future Neo Tokyo, I don't think they're white people. So why are we changing the entire way that that an industry? He says a dub is about access to information. No, I mean sub copies exist. You could watch the show and read along the subtitles. Effectively, dubs are for convenience sake.
Convenience sake, and once again, I've argued why I
No, I
prefer
understand,
dub
but
over
like
sub, but
you personally don't get as much of an experience if you
correct.
You don't get as much of an experience if you have to read it. And I'm the same way. Like I liked Parasite, but like I feel like if I watched that movie in English,
You would have gotten more out
to
of
be
it.
fair, I actually don't think I would have, because to make that movie in English, you'd have to change the setting, and a big factor of that movie is the setting. So that's a bad example on my part. But there are plenty of shit like.
But you still would have gotten more out of it in the sense of understanding the actual emotion that's being experienced by. Because when you hear a different language, I don't know about you, but if I hear a different language, a lot of it doesn't translate properly in my head on what that emotion is that they're experiencing during that scene.
Oh,
It just
100%.
simply doesn't.
100%. Because
So if they're like not angry, right? Anger usually can be
you can
noticed
yeah,
within the language. But let's say they're shocked, or
Yeah.
they're trying to be persuasive, right? Being slick. You don't know that.
Right.
You don't. You could.
Right.
If you knew the language, you know that.
Right, exactly. So to give a different example, we come from a different country. I learned my first words of English by watching a soap opera from the 80s called Santa Barbara. I think it's actually a pretty popular show from what I understand. But it was in English. It was broadcast in English, and we had our local Balkan translations.
Right.
I don't remember a single. Granted, I was young, but still, I feel like I would, because I remember a lot of shit from back then, and I consume. Like, I know a lot about Grey's Anatomy, and I don't even watch that whole show. I watch a few episodes with Erica once in a while. Like, I know a lot about that show. I feel like I would remember more from that show if I had just watched it and it was translated locally.
Right.
Because I'll tell you, I watched the dub, and a live action dub is always very strange, but I watched the dub.
It is. It's tough.
I watched the dub of Night Watch and Day Watch from back in the day.
Pixar will localize a joke for a region. This is to make the joke accessible.
Yeah, and that's cool, and I dig that. So, like, if they do a movie, like, let's say WALL-E, and they make a joke in WALL-E, that's a terrible example because there are conversations in WALL-E, but, like, they make a joke in WALL-E regarding American behavior, that joke doesn't translate.
Right.
So they'll make a joke regarding Korean behavior, et cetera, et cetera.
Sure.
I get that, but I'm saying, like, I would have gotten more out of Santa Barbara. I would have learned more about American culture, behavior, granted from TV, if I'd have just watched it in my local language. But I learned English, like I learned the language because I was just seeing translations. I didn't know what inflections meant and what grammar was, and none of that shit. I learned none of that shit. because
Right.
I watched the dub for Night Watch and Day Watch, which I really wish they would have made the third one because it was supposed to be a trilogy. Great movies. Weirdly, very, very good dubbing to the point that for like the first 20 minutes, I didn't realize it was dubbed. But and when I watched the newer movie Guardians, that's in Russian, and I watched it with subtitles. Yeah, I don't know what that movie was about.
Right. See, that's
Like, I get the general gist of that movie,
right.
but like if I was to tell you what that movie was about, it would
Right.
be literally like the most generic sci-fi pitch
Right.
ever. It
Right.
was like, because I mean, here it is. The movie was about three or four? Let's say four former Soviet operatives who had been enhanced somehow. I don't know how they got their powers, but they got powers, and then they had been like retired at some point. And then the one chick became a singer slash performer. The one dude was like a recluse in the woods, and then like some shit happened. Still actually don't know who the bad guy was. There was just some shit happening. They called them, and they like collected them, and then they came out and then they fought the guy. A bunch of shit crashed, and that was really it. Like, I don't know what that movie was about. I could not tell you the story.
Right.
I can just give you the general pitch because it's kind of what I got out of it. Because granted, I think I also think the translation was done like through Google Translate. So like it wasn't professionally dubbed or subbed.
Right.
It wasn't professionally subbed. But like in certain situations, it's doable. In other situations, it's definitely not. Because I have a perfect example of, especially in anime. After Beast Wars, they made a Beast Wars Neo. Beast Wars Neo was only released in Japan. To my dismay. Like, I would have loved to see that show.
Right.
Beast Wars Neo was fan dubbed. There's a fan dubbed Transformers project online. They've done a ton of fan dubbing. Decent, not like great, not like, top level quality, but it's decent. And I watched the first episode because I wanted to see the difference. I watched the first episode in Japanese with the subtitles, and then I watched the dub. I got more out of the dub.
Yeah.
Because like you said, the inflections, what things mean. Because like the way, it was like a go check it out kind of thing. The way he says it in Japanese does not feel to me, because again, like Elohim's saying, there are regional differences. Shit is said differently in another region as it is here. Like here, when your military boss says go do something, it has a certain tone to it in every movie. Like you can watch any movie, I can show you a clip of like the general telling the soldier to do something, and if I just covered your eyes and showed you that scene and you just heard it, you'd give me the gist of this is a superior officer telling a subordinate officer to do something.
Right, exactly.
And that's what it felt like in the dub, whereas that is not what it like heard like for me in Japanese. I read that and I understood what was happening, but I didn't hear that in the voice.
You're absolutely right. Anime is interesting in the terms of copyright laws, and usually they won't.
I think fan dubs are fucking brilliant because if
if they're not gonna do it,
real talk, Hottis, would you watch fifth stage initial D if someone did a really decent dub?
Yeah, 100%.
Because you want to watch the rest of it.
Yeah,
but they're never gonna do it.
No, they're never gonna do it because they won't. Funimation won't say who literally bought out the rights for dubbing that last season.
So
they won't call them out, and nobody knows who did it because it's not publicly available to find out. So it's like whoever has it is being a dick, and they won't let Funimation dub it.
So to Elam's point, I actually really I think he's got a very interesting point here. He says anime in general will not go after people for fan dubs and he's saying it's interesting in terms of copyright laws, international copyright laws. Western companies will go after people if they do like fan dubbing. I mean, like you look at CBS CBS Universal, they went after people making fan Star Trek movies.
Oh yeah,
all this
man.
shit.
They went real hard for those.
Yeah, and the small teams who make that stuff, like Elam says, can't afford to translate everything. Because I'll be honest, Beast Wars Neo's not done. I think one season of one of the other shows, like there's like 3 or 4 Transformer shows that never made it to English. So like these people were doing this, and they just, people fall off. And because like I've been part of internet projects with people you don't, are around, and people fall off. People just, life comes in the way.
Right.
But I think the difference is that there is such an overabundance of anime. I mean, like if I was to sit down and watch just all of the dubbed anime, I would literally be doing that 24/7 for the rest of my life, and I wouldn't finish.
Right.
Because they make so much content. My question is, do they make in Japan, besides movies, because I know they make movies, but do they make a large amount of like live action TV shows, like action adventure TV shows that are like, we obviously you have the Super Sentai shit, but that's for kids. I'm talking about like comparative to like the CW,
Right.
like this. Do they make shit like that, like a weekly show, X amount of? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Super Sentai is a pretty large thing, but I wouldn't put that on the same level as like The Flash or Arrow or stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean it's huge, but
yeah, I mean it's
like
25, 30 years running, so like there's definitely a ton there.
I mean, I don't think
because I know they make movies. Like obviously they make movies.
Right. I don't think that they actually.
I feel like most Japanese people watch anime. Right. I think it is a cross-generational thing. That's why sometimes, you see anime come on Netflix, you see anime come on other platforms, and you're like this is a fucking kids thing. Like, I don't care about this. Like, they have, and even shit that I feel like is meant for, let's say, teens and up, has, like, Full Metal Panic. Great example. Season 1, I would rate that, like, teen plus. Season 2, definitely, like, kids. Because it was like all about high school and love and little like It was like a fluff season. And then season 3 was again teen plus. So I feel like it's like they go out of their way to make everything, not everything, but like a lot of things accessible. Like no one made Akira as a kids show, but Akira is like explicitly an adult series. It's not for teenagers. It's not for like, it's a grown up, like violent, gruesome fucking show, a movie.
Would anime? I think what's cool about anime is that anime, even though it's cartoon, right? Even though it's what we would say here is a cartoon, right? There's a lot of there are animes that are just children based. I mean, they're just
of course, but like we have cartoons here too.
But a lot of anime is deep, like interesting scenarios. Story.
I mean, like
perfect example is the one I recently said falls probably my top 10 animes of all time, which is in American it's called Erased, but it has a different, I think, different name in Japanese.
10.
In Japanese,
a new show that is top 10. God damn.
Yeah, dude. Like it is. The story and the concept in that anime, and the anime is like, I don't know, 12 episodes or something. It's not long. Is deep. Like, take for instance the Butterfly Effect.
Okay.
But I mean, same, literally the same concept in that sense. It is the Butterfly Effect, but. No, I mean, honestly, I was going to say, but darker, but the Butterfly Effect movie was pretty damn dark.
It was pretty damn dark.
I would say equally dark.
Okay.
Equally, but that coming out of a cartoon.
That's what I'm saying.
So what people would look at,
and that's what I'm saying.
And be like, oh, that's a cartoon. It's like, yeah, it's a cartoon, as in that it's drawn,
right.
But
that's
like
why
the story is like deep.
And that's why I think, honestly, why you have Japanese studios not going after people if they make fan dubs, because it's like it's probably easier for them to have like a mediocre dub out there because you
Right.
have the hardcore anime people in America who don't speak Japanese but are gonna watch it in Japanese and read the subtitle. Those are like the hard. I don't get them.
Those are yeah.
Those are
the
hardcore people. They're gonna like. I don't get
yeah.
that. Like I said, I have those different experiences, but if you can also gain a following of people who will
Right.
watch it, who will watch it dubbed and might watch your next series, or might like there's a cascade that, like we talked about this the other day with Shaggy, which is like fucking tangents. Shaggy and the singer Shaggy almost being nobody except for a DJ in Hawaii bootlegging his song
On Napster.
So a bootleg copy of a song made this dude a multi-millionaire and an international sensation.
Yeah.
Like, there is something to be said about pirated and bootleg and shit copies out there. Access, 100%.
Access, 100% access.
Because we've talked about this. We pay for XYZ, like Netflix and Hulu, and like we pay for X amount of shit. If I pay for all of the shit and I still can't get to it, I'm gonna find it. And you can't look at me weird.
No, and that's the thing. I'm telling you right now. So I pay for Hulu, I pay for Netflix, I pay for Amazon Prime, which I utilize all to find something that I want to watch.
Yeah.
I also have cable that I pay for, and with that cable, I have the subscription for HBO. So if
by the way, you also now have Peacock, because Peacock is part of our Comcast plans.
Oh, okay. So now, if I'm looking for something, and I've paid for, and I continue to pay for all these services. Oh, and by the way, I have Apple TV Plus, whatever, however, and Disney Plus. So I have a shit ton of like access to shit.
Yeah.
So if I cannot
Yep.
watch something that I know I need to watch, I want to watch.
Right.
You cannot, even if I told you straight up to your face and everybody in this world, yep, I bootleg the living shit out of that.
Yep.
You have no right to look at me in any fashion or form except, good for you.
What somebody needs to do, and I think Apple's probably going in this direction, because with the Apple TV app, you can like bring in the other subscriptions.
Oh, and I forgot to mention, I pay for Funimation, so
I think someone needs to create a platform, and like I said, I think Apple's probably the closest right now, where you can go in and when you can create, let's say, your categories, and you click anime, it brings up all the anime from all the shit you're signed into.
Right.
And you want to watch anime, it's going to bring up Seven Deadly Sins. It's going to bring up Samurai Troopers from Amazon Prime. It's going to bring up everything from Funimation. Like, if you, like, you should be able to search everything. And I think that's, whoever makes that, that's going to be the real hero going forward. Because there's going to be, now that, you have Peacock, and I'm sure, the aggregate information is hugely valuable. Like, because everyone has, like, similar categories. Like, if you click comedy is on everything shit, right? Like, so if you click comedy and whatever, the super app, you click comedy, it should bring up all the comedy options from all the services. And then, you should be able to log into it. And like I said, I feel like Amazon or Apple is kind of doing this, because from what I've seen, I don't have all the platforms signed in there, so I don't know how it really works. Like, because it does show you shows from like all of the services, but it's kind of on its own. It doesn't like base it on your behavior. But like if I watched, like I just watched The Order on Netflix, and if I watch The Order and there is a Hulu show that is very similar, the app should be able to be like, hey, you like that? Here's this thing over here.
Oh yeah, for sure, 100%.
Because like Elam said, discovery is the biggest issue. Like that's why people get like locked into their own little circles, and that's why if you don't know, on Instagram, T3G Media, I turned our single post on Saturday. We don't do a lot of posts, but our single post on Saturday I turned into Black Creator Spotlight, because some of the people I'm sharing are huge people. Like they have a way bigger following than me, but not everyone knows about them. And maybe you found me, and maybe you know us, but you don't know them. So that to me, because like I even find it hard to find other black creators because it's like you're basing it on the work. A lot of people just share the work, and a crazy video edit or an incredible piece of art doesn't tell me black creator. So like there's a lot of research to be done for me to like expand that list, and I think that's kind of my goal here is to kind of simplify that for people. Is if you want a video producer, that was a video I did last week. I did 4 video production experts who have been invaluable to my own personal growth. Like I just like huge respect for all 4. But like out of that, like I just hope people can find them and like get access to those people that you wouldn't before. Like discovery is huge because because shit acts weird. Like on TikTok, there's a bunch of artists that I follow. There's a bunch of like pages that I follow, and then I go into my list and I can't find them. Yeah. I'll like a post, like I see it with the heart.
Right.
I go to my like posts, it's not there.
Right.
I don't know if it's the app being weird. I don't know if it's TikTok's algorithm trying to hide that person. Man. Because there is the term, what do they call it, on shadow banned. I don't know if this is universal across shit, but like people feel like they get shadow banned. Like they do, 100K, 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 and then the next one they put out 10K. Well, that feels like you're not serving the shit to the same people, to the same 100K 100%. People. Like that feels like from a creative perspective. Dude, it was the weirdest thing ever. I looked at our analytics on the other day on YouTube, and it was just like 300 views a day, 400 views a day, 300, and then it was 0 one day. Just like flat 0 for one day. I was like,
right.
How's that even possible?
And but that's
subscribe to you YouTube, don't see those videos. What I'm not sure what you mean,
well, essentially what they're saying is like you're subscribed.
Oh yeah. No. Yeah. If you
Yeah.
subscribe to a YouTube channel, no, 100%. That pisses me off too because I forget.
Dude.
Like I'll follow people, and let's say I get into like a rabbit hole of what like lately I've been watching the shit out of Hamilton videos. Like I've like half of my suggestions are Hamilton videos.
Yeah.
So like it doesn't show me all of the people that I watched last week or the week before, people that I subscribed to a month ago who I really liked. I don't see them, and I forget that I subscribed.
Yeah.
Because I got into a rabbit hole of fucking
happens all the time. Happens to me too, man. It's
no, Facebook is almost an intentional thing because I'll tell you right now from the creator standpoint, when we post something, basically it tells us we get 250 impressions. Beyond that, we have to pay. So for me, if you follow us on Facebook, you can't see it if 250 people have already seen it.
Which is stupid. Which is horrible.
Incredibly stupid.
It's horrible.
It screws the people that create content for Facebook.
Yeah, I mean it screws people in general because, and this goes back to what I was telling you. There's a guy I follow, not a guy, it's 2 guys that I follow that have a huge automotive YouTube channel, and they've said it multiple times. They said, yeah, we don't post on Facebook. And everybody's, because everybody's like, post on Facebook, and they were like, yeah, we don't do that because people don't see our shit, and we'd have to pay a significant amount of money for people to see our shit.
It's nuts. Facebook, as far as content creators, is very much ad based. Like they want you to spend money to expand your reach, to boost your posts. And that's helpful once in a while, but the other thing is that stuff also stacks. So like if you do a bunch of posts like that, if you do a bunch of boosted posts, and let's say you get 50,000, 100,000, 1,000,000 views or whatever, the next one you do is more likely to be shown to some of those people if they interacted with it. So now now the algorithm also plays in with that. For everything else, it's 100% algorithm, because I have recently been arguing with a lot of people on the internet, and I've been arguing in certain groups, and I see a lot of posts from those groups now. But like we're in the No Small Creator group, I see 1 post a day out of No Small Creator. Unless I interact, And then the next day I see 2, 3, 4 posts from no small creator because it's different, because it's based on your interaction. The shit is crazy. I'll tell you, the absolute strongest and best algorithm I've ever seen in action is TikTok. And I hate to say it, I hate to give them the credit, but like, it is incredibly strong. It is precise as fuck. Like, if you find, because it's great because it shows you stuff that has, like, I've literally gotten videos that have 0 views, 0 likes, and the person has like 10 followers, and it's like good content, so I like it. Within 3 swipes, it is serving me more of their shit or similar shit, even if it's shit I've never watched before. Like right now, I'm like hard locked into like 3 subcategories of TikTok. I'm on Black Lives Matter TikTok, I'm on gay TikTok, and like I'm not even on food TikTok anymore. I used to be on just food TikTok. Swear to God, every single post was recipe, crazy recipe, ridiculous juice. Like, it was just every post. But then when I did Black Lives Matter stuff, it just introduces me to new Black Lives Matter people every single day. And it's, like I said, it is very much it is the best algorithm I've ever seen in play. It is like the thing that everyone talks about the algorithm, like, oh, do the things that you want people to like, and then when people like it, like, it will show it to more people. You can see it happen. Like on YouTube, that is theoretical. You can see that happen on mass scale. Once you hit like 10,000 views on something, and let's say you make the same kind of video and you do it the same way, and that turns into another 10,000. Once you have like an established pattern, then you can cater to the algorithm because you know what it serves and what it doesn't.
Right.
But until then, you see no results. There is no, if you're an established channel, I honestly think the biggest thing I could do for our channel right now is to start over. So start on a whole new channel.
For which channel?
T3G.
Oh, for YouTube.
Yeah, if I was to start a new YouTube channel about storytelling and like the creative journey, probably I'm not gonna like guess at numbers, but I would probably guess a double the growth rate.
Right.
Just because it's already a niche, like I'm jumping into a niche that exists.
Right.
As opposed to, we were a tech channel, then we did movie reviews, and then we did vlogs, and then we, like, it grew and changed and evolved. And that's like, I'd never do that because that's part of the story, which is like the whole thing that I'm trying to talk about.
Right. Right.
So I would never do that. But it's funny that is what you would have to do if you want to make a change on YouTube. It is more practical for someone to create something new than it is to change something existing. To
rebrand.
Yeah. It is more practical to do a whole new channel, a whole new thing, because you look at something like Maddie Hapoya. Maddie Hapoya is a really good content creator. I would venture even to say great content creator. I don't watch a ton of vlogs, but I still watch his because I actually like how he does his shit. Mm-hmm. But his whole thing used to be called Travel Feels. The channel was called Travel Feels. His whole brand was Travel Feels. It was about travel and making these really crazy cinematic shots. Like the first video I ever watched of his, like he had his old channel trailer up and he had this incredible drone shot. Like I swear to God, right over like buzz someone's head. Like just is really, really cool. And it was like the top of a mountain in a gorge, like beautiful shot. Like he doesn't even do shit like that anymore. But like to move from like strictly travel shit to more of this like vloggy, like not really travel. There's really no travel. But he got big in this because he got boosted by Peter. He became friends with Peter. He started working with Peter, and then that just got boosted because he fed off that.
Right.
And that's the kind of thing, like the only practical way to make a change without starting a new thing on YouTube is to partner up with somebody who's already got an audience that is similar to what you're going to be making. Mm-hmm. And then you know, that's what drives the growth. But like you look at situations like I forget her name, but she's the van life girl with the snake. She showed up with 2 videos and cracked like millions of views in like
Yeah,
a
yeah, I
week.
think I know who
And
you
people are
talking
like,
about.
"Oh, she's working with YouTube and she's paying them and all this shit." And it's like you can look at the statistics and the numbers, and you can look at where the traffic's coming from. It's not coming from paid ads. It's not coming from single sources. Like it just she caught the van life craze.
She literally, is it Janelle Eliana?
Janelle, yeah,
2.4 million subscribers
yeah.
in 1 year of making videos.
And I don't even think she's got that many videos.
No, I'm looking at her entire page. It is doesn't tell me total, but let's see, 2, 4, 6, 6 per, uh,
Bro,
and then yeah, 6 per row, and then 2, 4. She has 4 rows and one row of one. So
so
she has 25 videos.
25 videos. 25 videos, 2.5 million views. Who fucking knows how much money?
2.5 million subscribers, but
Yeah.
shit ton of views
Yeah,
per
millions
video.
of views.
I
Millions of
mean,
views.
the only ones that haven't, like, there are a few that haven't broke a million views, but
They're up there.
I mean, yeah, I mean, we're talking
And that's what I'm
5,
saying.
600,000
And
views,
that's
and
what I'm
then the
saying.
rest of them are like
But
2 to
she
4
she
million,
very
5
much,
million.
and I watched like a bunch of people who like analyzed her growth and all this shit. And she was on Philip DeFranco's podcast, and she's like, I didn't pay for shit. Like I just made. She had like a small Instagram following, but like nothing to warrant. Like even if all of them came over, I think it would have been like 25 or 30,000 people.
Right.
Like nothing to warrant that kind of growth. But she caught the van life craze. She knew keywords because the way her shit was titled, especially at the beginning, was like single female van life, like boom boom boom, like with a
Oh,
snake.
yeah.
So it was like
Super, yeah.
catchy. People are like, "What's up with the snake?" Like, and she her overhead is fucking minimal because she did it all on fucking iPhone, and that blows my goddamn mind.
Yep.
But it's what I'm saying. It's like it to answer Ilham's question, in the tech age, you have to pay to get your audience. Why? Why? Well, because companies are greedy, and that's why.
Yeah.
And that's why
I
the
mean, that's-
only real method to gain
yeah.
an audience
Yeah,
is to
that's
post
the-
everywhere and to post a lot.
Yeah.
Because you know, like we right now, you know, we've got four or 5 people watching, and it's not very like it's not a you know a lot of people don't watch this podcast. We get 5 to 10
Right.
on a really good podcast on the back end. Like not a ton of people watch this podcast, but if we did this podcast daily, it'd be a whole different ballgame.
Yeah, I mean, if we did it on a
Whole different
daily,
ballgame.
consistent manner, it would be definitely a different ball game.
And that's,
I mean,
and
it's
that's
just,
why I'm doing Instagram right now. I'm that's why I'm doing the Instagram post. Like I found a website called later.com, and that lets you like schedule for free for up to 30 posts a month. Lets you schedule Instagram posts, and that's always been my thing. Like I really don't like. I've got big hands, so I don't like working off my phone. It's just like you can't do a lot on your phone, honestly.
Right.
I like to edit more and differently, and I like to be able to frame shit up, and it's a lot easier to do it on a computer. So I schedule either the next photo or I schedule the week, and then they go out and then they post. So now I'm having consistent, regular posts on Instagram. I'm not doing 7. I'm doing technically 4, but it's like I do 4 posts on Instagram a week now. Before I was doing 1 a month and
Maybe.
like stories here and there. But now I am seeing a few people subscribe. And that's kind of the whole point, right? The whole point is to see the action and kind of see where it goes from there. Speaking of subscribers, this is like a little sneak I wanted to jump in here. Hot is here has a automotive channel called Full Throttle Auto, and he is this close to that stack, this close to that 1,000. If you are a automotive fan, if you like automotive content, if you like car videos, driving videos, race videos, let's talk about that driving ability on this boy. Check it out. I'm going to share it right here, put it on the screen. It's youtube.com/fullthrottleauto. There it is.
Thank you, my dude.
We're at 988 By the way, it was 987 at the beginning of this podcast, so thank you whoever subscribed already.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're 12 away now. 12 away from that 1,000. You already got the views. We're not worried about the views.
Yeah, the
But
views are there. The hours are there.
You're gonna get we're gonna get you monetized. We're gonna get you that 1K.
Thank you, thank you.
But it's like it's stuff like that. Like you are consistent. You put up videos regularly, one a week, and it's like it doesn't have to be ridiculous. There are people who went daily, and that helped them. You know, I saw something interesting happen in January when I went daily for a month. It was very interesting. Not a big fan of kind of the stress that I was under. I'm not a big fan of kind of how some of the stuff came out. Like not my best work, but out of those 30 videos, like 25, I think I ended up with. Out of that month's videos, 2 or 3 are already like 10,000 views and up.
Right.
Like they're cracking. Like the SL1 review of all things. By the way, I dropped it. Now I've dropped literally every camera.
Oh my God.
Nothing broke. But I just thought it was funny as shit. I've dropped every single camera.
Jesus. You have.
I've dropped all 3 cameras. I did drop yours. Fuck. Yeah. So I've dropped all cameras in our possession except your 70D.
Except, thank God.
Keep that thing away from me.
I'm not letting nobody.
Keep that thing away from me. The SL1 video, which of all things, this is a 3 or 4 year old camera. There is an SL3 now. But people watch this video. They love this fucking video. They talk the comments on this video. People literally just be like, "I just bought this on Amazon. Thanks for the video. I just bought this at Best Buy. Thanks for the video." Yeah. And I'm like, "That's dope." And people are like, "I've had it for years." Somebody said, "I've had it for years. I just opened it, and I'm gonna be using it. Thank you." I was like, "That's fucking great." And that to me, like, that's really like what it's about to me. It's like the inspiration to get somebody to go out and do some shit. Like
I've always said there's 3 reasons why I do what I do. And if any of those 3 were to happen, that's like that I win. I don't give a shit.
Right.
If it's one of the 3 that hits, I win. That's inspiration, education, or entertainment. If any of those 3 are hit while watching my videos,
right,
I have won.
Exactly.
And then there's no better feeling than when you see something where somebody says, "Thank you for the video. This really helped me," or "This really inspired me." And I've had a few of those, and it's just the ultimate feeling because it then acknowledges that I am doing the thing that I think that I'm doing.
Right.
And so, yeah, man, it's a great feeling, man. It's a great feeling, and I think I don't know how we're going all the way to this shit because we're talking about voice acting, but but apparently not. But no, that's the thing, man. All about getting into this stuff for the right reasons too.
Yeah.
People see YouTubers and they're like, "Oh man, they're making gang of money. I want to do that." I mean, yeah, they can't be making a shit ton of money, but I'm hoping to God they're doing it because they actually enjoy it and not because you can make money however you want.
Because you also look at I mean, like, I think there's something to be said about people who come at it from the money perspective. They're coming at it from how do you make money. I actually just had this is one of the arguments I had on Facebook regarding comic books recently. Somebody posted a thing. So there's a platform called Webtoons, and that's where people put up their comics. Yeah. They're like original comics for free, and you can go on and read it and whatever. Like you can just read the comics. Apparently, you can't make money there. I feel like I've heard something that there is a way that they're going to make money, but it's like you got to be selected, and there's this whole. It's like not easy to make money if you can make money.
I got you.
So somebody posted, and somebody was an independent creator, and they're like, "Hey, why do people post on this thing if it doesn't make them money?" And somebody was like, "Well, I don't know why you would, and I can't believe that people are defending it." because there are a bunch of people that were like, oh, because it's easy to get to and blah blah. I said like access, like it's the same reason people put up their original music on YouTube or on SoundCloud, like so people can listen to it, and like we talked about earlier, access, like finding the shit is more important than the few people buying the shit. Like a lot of people finding the shit is more important than so. Because I told him, I'm like, we met Comfort and Adam, fantastic husband and wife art couple, creator couple. They made 2 series. They might have made more. 2 are the ones that we've been reading, or I've been reading. We both read Rainbow in the Dark, which is a fantastic series. I would only read it as a graphic novel. I wouldn't even bother with singles. I would just buy the whole thing. Fantastic read. It's like The Matrix, but a little more animated. Like it's very good. I really enjoyed it. And then they also created the Uniques, which is like a Teen Titans-esque kind of young people, superpowers, responsibilities, trying to get through it, trying to figure out how to work out as a team, etc. You can read the entire first season and I think the entire second season of the Uniques on Webtoons for free. For free. You do it right now. You can go on Webtoons, look up Comfort and Adam or the Uniques, and it's there. We met them at a convention. Mm-hmm. We saw them 3 or 4 times. We bought a few prints. And then we saw the book. We talked about the book. They pitched the book. We're like, all right, fuck it, let's do it. We bought the book. We liked the book. And then I came back and I bought the Uniques, their original version. They've now remastered it and redid a bunch of redid the entire first volume. Yeah. I bought that. I bought volume 2, bought volume 3. So I bought season 1 and 2. Or season 1. Whatever the fucking setup is. I forget how because they're doing seasons. Like it throws me off because like comics don't do seasons normally.
Right.
So I have the first 3 volumes. I literally just ordered the Tales of the Uniques, which is a separate little mini series volume, and that's because I met them. I got a chance to talk to them. I got a chance to experience their stuff. What if you don't go to conventions? What if you enjoy comics, but you enjoy reading them online, and you find Webtoons, and you're Webtoon, and you go down and you blah blah blah, and then you're like, oh, what's this? The Uniques, and you start reading it, and you read page, chapter 1, chapter 2. You're like, man, this is fucking fantastic. I wish I could read the whole thing. Oh, look, here is the link to their store where you can buy the whole thing. Yeah. Here is a link where you can buy Rainbow in the Dark. You have the opportunity, like Elam said earlier, access is the fucking most important thing. Because if you can find the shit, you will get the shit.
100%, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, a cliffhanger will make you open your pocketbook, but you got to get them hooked. Exactly. That is a perfect way to phrase it. If you have a good, and their story is very well written. I got to give it to them.
Rainbow in the Dark is
Rainbow in the Dark is definitely, I think, top 5, if not top 5, definitely top 10, like all-in-one stories. Yeah, like as 100%. Far as like you pick up a book and you read the whole thing and you don't need like a shit ton of other knowledge, I think that's definitely top 10. Like 100%. It's one of those things that like if you get that content out, and that's the same thing as there is a guy I spotlighted on Saturday last week, I think, or the week before. It was the week before. Who does right now? He's doing on Instagram, obviously for free. No, it doesn't cost you any money. He does a sketch every single day. By the way, a sketch to him is like the best work I've ever done times 5. It's one of those like really, really like well talented, like well established artists. So like he's doing a sketch a day of beautiful shit, and you can just consume that and enjoy it. But guess what? Shit like that is what happens. Like this book that I just got delivered the other day. Followed some person on Instagram, enjoyed their shit, and they were like, "Hey, I have this thing that's on Kickstarter. We're gonna be doing a hardcover book of the first volume. If you're interested." And it's like really well put together. It's a hardcover. It's a widescreen, and I'm like, you know what? Fuck it, I'm in. Because like I enjoyed the art. Right. Characters are interesting. The characters have kind of a Full Metal Alchemist style, like it's kind of that era look. I like that. It's called Impure Blood. Like, and I was super hyped, like into it. Same thing with like the guy who does the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers books, Dan Mora. A great artist, fucking great artist.
What's the what's the dude's name on Instagram?
The guy who's doing the daily sketches, or the guy who's doing the daily sketches is. I'm an asshole. I don't remember it. I'm fucking terrible.
You
With this.
asshole.
I'm terrible with this. But if you look at the T3G1, it is the one I did two Saturdays ago. It's the thing in the corner, bottom right corner. I forget his name. Nick something. But yeah, he does like really fucking gorgeous art. And then someone, I forget who the creator, Nathan Lewis is the guy who did the Impure Blood. And that's the book I got. And that was the same thing. Like, I followed his shit on Instagram, and he was like, "Hey, we're doing this book." You know, Dan Mora does Power Rangers, the comics. And because he's a fucking badass and a great artist, he does on his Instagram, Dan C. Mora or Dan Mora C. Just look up Dan Mora on Instagram. He does redesigns of other characters as Power Rangers. He's got this dope Batman and Robin piece right now. They're like in Sentai kind of looks. I'm like, this is fucking incredible. Like, he did like a Sentai Spider-Man, like, which to me didn't even look like a Power Ranger, just looked like a badass Spider-Man armor. I was just like, and like, he just does that for giggles. And so then one day he was like, "Hey, I'm going to be doing this sketchbook. If you order it, I'll do a sketch inside for free." Or not for free, but like, it's part of the price. So I was like, "I love sketchbooks. Yes, please."
Yeah, right.
That's all I buy at conventions now. And since I'm not going to any conventions this year, let's go. Like, fuck yeah. So I got a badass sketchbook from Dan Mora. I had him do the Black Ranger in there for me. Like, it's that's the kind of shit where, like, you follow people, you get them that access, they get hooked, and you say, "Hey, I'm doing this thing if you're interested."
Yeah.
And it's not a hard sell. It's not a, "Hey," he said, "That's how League of Legends works." I guess I don't know what you mean. Is League of Legends like a thing where you can unlock certain things with money? Like, you have to pay money to unlock certain shit? Oh, you buy the skins. Yeah. To me, cosmetics, yeah. And that is definitely, I feel like that, depending on how it's structured, I feel like that can be predatory. Because you have situations like Overwatch. Overwatch, I feel like, is very predatory in the way they do it, because you can't just outright buy the skins, right? You can't say, "Oh, this in Overwatch the skin costs let's say 1,000 coins." You can't just buy 1,000 coins and buy that skin. You have to buy boxes and boxes and boxes and boxes. Whereas I like in Apex, you can just buy coins, and with those coins, buy a skin.
Yeah.
I think it's way more direct. It makes more sense to me. I don't know how League works with skins, but if it's the box system, I'm not a big fan of it, honestly. I have these moments where I kind of have a little bit of like addiction to the loot box, not even loot box, but like just like cool shit. Like, I like cool shit. And like, this happened a couple weeks ago. I think I talked about it on the podcast before, where I was getting into my like card collection. I have a bunch of trading cards, and yeah, the free to play with skins is the business model. Absolutely. I mean, it makes sense. It really does make sense, because if you give people something that is valuable to them, whether as entertainment or as education or whatever, and then you say, "Hey, optionally, I have this thing that you can pay to get," it does not change your experience except visually. Right. As opposed to what EA did, and they were like, "If you want to play as the two most important characters in the series of Star Wars, it costs this much money or 40 fucking hours of work."
Yeah.
Like, that was bullshit. Whereas in like Mortal Kombat, like, I can unlock everybody within 10 hours. Yeah, that's pay to win. Yeah, pay to win is a completely different thing. And it's not even that. Like, I wouldn't even put what they did as pay to win. It was just predatory, because like, could you win without Luke? Yeah, you could play through the whole game without Luke. But people want to play Luke.
Right.
That's the character they want to play. They want to play Vader. It's not about, like, you don't have to have that character to win. Yeah, pay to win is bullshit. Pay to win is bullshit. I think free to play with cosmetics and like with shit that doesn't affect your gameplay, but just like it can make it look pretty, makes sense to me. Like, you know, in certain mobile games, I spend, you know, because I do the Google Opinion rewards. I make a few bucks, and then I'm like, hey, I want to level up this character in this free game that I play. Oh, I got a few bucks on Google Play rewards, so like I just pay with that. I did
Right.
recently spend more money than I'd like to admit on a bullshit, not even a game. It was a collectible card app.
Oh yeah, you did tell
In
me that.
retrospect, it's so stupid. In retrospect, I like don't even. I wish I hadn't done it, but they caught me at the right time. I was dicking around with my cards upstairs. I love Star Citizen. First of all, don't even get me started on Star Citizen. Fucking, but I wouldn't pay. I got it in a bundle, and I wouldn't pay for any more. So I I I kind of got stuck. I couldn't get far because I couldn't get better cards. Um, but I it's just literally it was I've just been digging around with cards, and I was searching because I was like, oh, like I could maybe get like all of the cards from the, because I'll buy like mixed box sets at comic shops, and they'll have the main set and like one of the chrome cards or one of the specialty cards or whatever. And this was a set where I was like, I kind of want all of them. Let me just get all of them. So like I spent some time on eBay. I ordered them. I spent like $20 to $30, let's say, to get all of the cards that I want for that set. It knew that behavior. So when I'm on Instagram stories, I'm swiping, and I always swipe off ads. And this time it was like Topps Marvel. I know Topps is cards, and I know Marvel. So I stop, and I come back, and I let it play. And it's like, oh, you can collect cards and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, all right, let's try it. I was like, at least they got the download from me, right? I don't know if I'm going to keep it. I don't know if I'm going to do anything with it. I don't know what, if anything, is going to happen in this thing. But they got the download from me. I'm like, am I going to spend money? Probably not. I open it, and for the most part, I'm like, man, whatever, like bullshit collecting cards. And then they're like, special event, Age of Apocalypse. And I'm like, that's my favorite shit. so, so I just got it in my head where I was like, I have to collect all the Age of Apocalypse. So then I spent $60 across that set and another smaller, thankfully, set to collect all of them, and then literally have not opened the app since. Because like I have all of the things that I want, right?
Yeah.
Which are pictures on a phone. I spent $60 for pictures on a phone. It's so, yeah, it's exactly.
Dude.
Digital ownership is super super weird. Like I spent money on shit that doesn't exist. You know, like the $30 or whatever I spent on those physical cards. Those cards showed up. Like I have those cards upstairs. They're in sleeves and they look cool. And some of them are like, that's the really cool shit about physical cards to me, especially from the '90s, because people did some weird shit. If you buy a song on iTunes, you can't. Yeah, no, that's exactly what it is. If you buy a song on iTunes, technically you're not buying a song, you're buying access to a song. Because you can't keep it unless you put it on something physical. It's like, yeah, you can't keep that song unless you have access to that account or put it on a physical medium. It's weird. Yeah, it's weird. Not a big fan of iTunes purchasing, honestly. Music for me is more like album sales are not interesting to me anymore. I don't want to buy albums. Like I've listened, I don't want to say all of them, but I've listened to most of Futuristic's albums on actually I like Star Citizen. I listen to most Futuristic's albums on YouTube and on Spotify and on Google Play Music and Apple Music and all that shit. So he's made like a few bucks off me, right, over time. But I've never bought his albums. I have no interest in buying his albums because like albums don't mean shit to me. For me, it's like make those videos cool. I'll watch those videos till the end of time. Like the videos from the Coast to Coast album with him and Devon Terrell, I'm gonna watch those forever. I fucking love those videos. Like there is never gonna be a time when I am not watching those videos
Right.
about vinyl albums because I miss not having CDs. I feel you. I feel you. And that's in and of itself is a different experience, right? Vinyl, is a different medium, is a different sound, is everything. Hobby started because I want to collect and couldn't. Yeah, that's dope. And I feel you, dude. I feel you with collecting. I had a CD collection and I had like a list of all the shit that I was gonna do. And then one day I was just like, it's not about the album as much as it is about the music. And for me, except for a few choice albums that I still got rid of because I'm like, there's no point in keeping some CDs. I, except for a few albums, it was just about the music. So I was just like, fuck it. I'd rather have it digitally and be able to play it whenever I want. But like certain shit, I kind of wish I had kept because there are certain albums that are just really cool packaging. Like there's a I think it's a British variant of the Linkin Park Minutes to Midnight album. It comes with like a behind the scenes documentary. It's in this like book, like it feels like a book. It's like a really cool experience as far as albums. But again, it's all stuff that I can watch on YouTube. Like the documentary is shit I can watch on YouTube. Vinyl, the sketchbook of music. I like that. Yeah. It's interesting. Yeah, digital ownership is interesting. Because, again, same thing with Star Citizen. It was... Actually, it's not on a laptop, on a tablet anymore. I took it off. But, like, I play the shit out of that game. I enjoyed that game. It's very interesting. But there is that purchase element of it. And it's like... Also, it's kind of hard to, like... If you don't stay logged in, it's hard to get back into it. Like, it's hard to regain access to it. Because I got it from a bundle, and I spent a lot of time on bundles, about 3 years buying bundles of all sorts of shit. And I ended up with about 1,000 games in my Steam library, which I eventually did, like, play through all of them. But it's still like, jeez. We just looked at it the other day. I have probably 100 games that I want to play full. And I'm like, that's let's just say they're all just 6 hours. And I know they're not.
Yeah.
That's 600 hours.
Yeah.
That's all of the time I've ever spent in Overwatch playing those games. Although, I mean, to be fair, that's not even that bad. That's not even that bad. That's not even that bad. It's not. Actually, you know what? I'll start right now.
Now that I think about it.
Well, because look, because I have the 4 Darksiders games on there now. But like, I played the first Darksiders game because back then I thought I was cool by being like, if you're gonna play it on the hardest mode possible because that's like the real experience. And I was like, I played it on Apocalyptic. It took 25 hours, and that included research because I just couldn't beat certain shit.
Nope.
But
not me.
But then I tried playing through Master Chief Collection on easy, and it was like, here's how you pee. Now here's how you hold it. Like. It was hand holding you the whole time, and I was like, I can't fucking do it.
Well, that's the thing. I don't do. I try not to do easy. Because usually it's just it's annoying because of that stuff where it just tells you how to. But I think there are rare occasions where I'm like, man, I gotta go down this far because this is how ridiculous this game is.
Mm-hmm.
But normally I'll do normal because I want to experience the story. I don't care for the difficulty being hard at this point because I want to first see the story and how it plays out. Because video games, just like anything else for me, is about the actual experience of what happens to the character that I'm playing. Unless it's like a first person game. Honestly, even like MMOs, as much as I like the story that's like, for instance, World of Warcraft being a perfect example, as much as there's a story within World of Warcraft, you're not really paying attention to that story that much when you're just doing like dungeons.
Yeah, and yeah, it's this, and it's I've spent a lot of time in Terra, and I tried to like keep track of the story. You almost start not caring because you're like, I'm here to play this game this way. it's like less about the experience and more so about just how to like playing that
Right.
game that way. Like I want to cast these kind of attacks and shit like that. So like, yeah, MMOs are weird. MMOs are definitely weird in that aspect because it's a strange thing to have to deal with as far as managing that story. Like that's why I was really excited when they said, "Oh, we're doing a movie," and I was like, "All right, cool. I'm very interested because then I can like know what the thing is." And
Right.
then they did a movie, and it was good. It wasn't great, but it was good. I thought it was enjoyable.
Yeah, yeah, it was good. I mean, there was
But
definitely
like,
things I'd like, I would love to
but it
change,
didn't
but
make the money they wanted, and therefore we'll never see more. But you know, they could. I don't know how this now that you've had some opinions about Blizzard, and if you haven't heard about this, check out our previous podcast, last two. Uh, if Blizzard was to come out now with, hey, we're going to do a streaming service, and we're going to do an Overwatch TV show, and we're going to do World of Warcraft series, what do you think?
I don't know, man. I don't, I don't
But
like their
would you
mentality.
bootleg it?
Probably.
Hey
No,
man,
honestly, probably not. Here's the thing. Would I get the itch at some point later? Here's the thing. You never say never, obviously.
right,
Would I get the itch at some point after seeing thousands of trailers being thrown at me by Facebook and all these other platforms that I'm on? And they're like, check this badass out. And everybody's fucking sharing. Oh my God, look at this
right,
World of Warcraft that's going to be on streaming
yeah.
because, and then I'm going to be like, fine, you win. But I don't. I still stick to what I said, and I will try to do it as long as I can. But companies that have a lot of money, but then they go against the simple things like innocent until proven guilty, which is the big one that I had an issue with Blizzard recently because um, if fans like it, then I would watch it. I would be interested, but not. I would be interested, but not watch it. If fans like it, then I would watch
I
it.
see what you're saying. Yeah,
I
so
see what you're
he's
saying.
saying, yeah, he's saying if
Yeah,
the
yeah,
people
yeah.
that would watch it, and they like it.
Right. My problem is when you take away, yeah, for sure. Um, when you do something like, for instance, my biggest problem was Swifty was called out by a previous person, a fling, I guess, saying that
All
he
right, Uncle Peter, thanks
was,
for hanging out. Much appreciated.
yeah, thank you for hanging out, man. Um, that he was somehow uh, a basically what's the word I'm looking for here? Not that he abused her physically or like that he took advantage, right, of his power,
Right,
supposedly,
right,
right?
right.
Um, but he didn't reply yet and shit like that. But instantly, Blizzard. So Blizzard, a long time ago, not a long time ago. I think it was for this most recent expansion or the one before. I can't remember which one. Put in a character with his name,
Right.
and that was dope because the guy's been literally showing off their game since the beginning. Like
Right.
he's been making
He's
videos
part of the
with
community at this point.
it. Right. I mean, people
Like
know him.
people know
People
his
know.
name in the
Right.
community.
And so there's this um what's the proper term for it?
NPC
This no, this person, so this girl, she throws out a
accusation.
accusation. And instantly their reaction is, "Oh, get rid of his character out of the game. We're not supporting this guy anymore, blah blah blah." That's the instant reaction just from an accusation.
Right. Before he even said anything.
Not
Before there was any.
before he said anything, before anything else was mentioned, before any kind of investigation came
Yeah.
through, before any kind
Rash
of
decisions. Rash decisions.
rash decisions. And I do not like companies who have a lot of money and want to jump into a rash decision. This goes back to what we talked about in the beginning of this podcast. If your instant reaction is an instant reaction to what you hear instead of taking time to absorb the information and then to properly realize if your original reaction was the right one or if you should do it differently, then you are a problem in the world. You are a problem in society. And if a company who has, I cannot imagine they don't have billions at this point because they're making millions off of one video game that's been going on since 2004. So if they don't have billions, I don't know what the hell's going on. But if a company like that with that kind of money does what the problem is in society, but then I don't want to support that. And they've had, and this isn't the first time they've done something like this. This is, they did it with that guy that what was it that talked up against what was it, China or
It
something?
was a pro player on their, I think, Overwatch team, maybe StarCraft. I don't remember. It was a
Something,
pro player on
yeah.
one of their games. He made a tweet that basically was in support of Hong Kong, democracy for Hong Kong, free Hong Kong, something
Sure,
like
yeah,
that.
right. And
And
their
and
instant
they banned him.
yeah,
They banned
their
him from
instant
league.
reaction was, yeah, let's ban them.
Yeah.
Um,
To answer your question, the Blizzard brand accounts for approximately 28% of the revenue of Activision Blizzard Group. This would value Blizzard net worth at approximately $18.4 billion.
I would assume. I
Estimated.
would.
Estimated.
Thank you, thank you. There we go. Hearthstone. It
Hearthstone.
was Blitz Chung. Um, and so I don't. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I can't back a company that has that kind of money and then they're willing to destroy society with the way.
Right.
And yes, this goes back also to the other conversation that we had, which was actors being put on a different pedestal. I'm putting Blizzard on a different pedestal because, but I'm not. At the same time, I am, but I'm not. I'm not because, in the sense of like, they're just instantly
Yeah.
reacting to what they're
Yeah.
seeing. They're not doing what socially would be done or should be done, which is innocent until proven guilty. That is just something that we seem to, that's it. Like, we
Yeah. No,
haven't.
there is definitely the cancel culture. It's called cancel culture
Yeah,
for a reason.
yeah, and yeah, exactly. It's
People just make the call like, all right, well, this person's a bad person. I mean, like in reality, I don't think there's a single person who was going to get who was going to watch Guardians 3 that is now not going to watch Guardians 3 over what James Gunn said.
right.
Not a single person.
And that's the thing. What he said 10 years ago
Yeah,
when they
10
called him
years
out
ago.
on it 3 years ago. So,
Exactly.
you
So I don't think
know,
there's a single person that is no longer going to see
right. Like, to
Guardians
me,
3
it's like,
because in reality, when you take a minute and you think about it, it's not as bad as people made it out to be.
no, absolutely
They're
not.
horrible jokes. Of course, they're horrible jokes.
Yeah. They're not good
And
jokes.
again,
Don't get me
like we
wrong.
talked about earlier, it is not the thing you are making fun of. The thing you are joking about is not funny unless it is in a joke.
Right.
Like
Right.
people
Unless it's
people make jokes about car crashes. People make jokes about people make jokes about fat people all the time. There are funny ass fat jokes. Funny ass fat jokes. And I am the fattest guy. Like I'm a fat guy. But like I love fat jokes. I think they're funny. But like when people are just trying to be mean because they're not funny.
difference between being actually rude and difference between actually
Yeah.
when somebody's
Yeah.
trying to just be funny. Um, so yeah, man. I mean, would I watch? Here's the thing. My temptation of seeing badass CG and
Yeah, I'm
hopefully a
not gonna
good
lie. Like,
story,
I would want to see an Overwatch series
uh,
so bad.
probably I would give in at some point. How would I give in? I don't know. I
Right.
don't know. Would I, obviously now with a different age, we grew up with Napster, so like we used to bootleg. I ain't gonna deny it. 90% of the world
Napster,
bootleg.
Kaza, ShareBear,
I'm
get out of
saying,
here.
man.
Get out of here.
So yeah,
LimeWire. Oh my God,
but
LimeWire.
now oh god, yeah, for a longest time after Napster. But now obviously we live in this different world, as we mentioned, where we have access to a lot of things and we're willing to pay for it because it's easy to have it. But once again, if it's to support a company that's willing to feed into this stupid aspect of cancel culture, why would I want to? Why would I want to? You know, help them with that? Why would I want to provide them more money so they're more relevant? Granted, my measly $15 a month alone
Right.
ain't gonna do shit,
Right.
but it is.
But you know, just like with all things, voting with your wallet is not a singular act. It's not just you. It's, you know, if you make a stand and you say, "Hey, I'm not doing this no more," like you guys made these, and these mistakes. And
Yeah.
honestly, to me, honestly, the shit sandwich they've made right now, it they can only make it worse if they come out and say Overwatch 2 costs $60. Because I'm still salty. Like I'm still like ready to be mad about that.
No, and I listen.
If
I
they say
get what you're.
like 40, I get 40 is the expansion cost for World of Warcraft. Fine, $40, that's fine. It's an expansion. That is what it is,
Right, right,
and that's fine. I have no problem with that. I mean,
right.
it's stupid to call it
Si-
Overwatch 2, but
If you
like
do 60, just like World of Warcraft, that's because you're getting more
I'm
from it, right?
saying, I'm saying,
It's a special
sketchbook,
edition,
something.
right? Um, no, man. I
It's
mean, to me, it's a company that continues. Well, here's the thing. I blame two forms on this. One form is I blame Activision.
yeah.
Activision owns their ass now, and since Activision has owned their ass, they have
Besides
made
COD, what
them
does
make
Activision
bad
make?
decisions. God, I wish I knew. Maybe.
Activision.
Um. So it's like,
Browse all games.
yeah, I get that there's another part of the company that makes you do stuff, but it's like, if you're willing to do stupid shit, I'm obviously not going to support you, and I'll voice that. And if people want to hear me out, they want to hear me out. If they don't, they don't. It's up to them.
Bro, it is a short list.
But yes, is it Elam? Um, I do agree with you. Overwatch has a lot of great characters, and I'd love to see a story, an
Yeah.
animated story, on a streaming service. Maybe even I've said it. I've tweeted at them multiple times. I'm just like, Blizzard, I wouldn't be mad if you started releasing a streaming service where I watch TV shows of your shit. But but also now I'm at this point where, like, yeah, but now you're Blizzard. Now you're doing shit that's like, it's not good for anybody. And are you going to continue down that road? Because that's not what I want to be part of.
Yeah.
I don't want to be part of shit that's been around for years, lots of years, and then you're now taken away from that because cancel culture and shit. So
Yeah, the real cost of business with China is that you have to modulate yourself and you have
oh,
to
for sure.
now here's the thing. There are certain situations where I don't think it's that big a deal, i.e. Transformers 3, was it 3? Yeah, it was 3. Where uh they went to China and a bunch of shit happened in China, even though someone doesn't know how to edit shit, and they didn't take out the Statue of Liberty in those
Right,
shots in China, and I thought that was
right.
fucking hilarious. But you do things that kind of like it appeases China. You go to pop like big important Chinese landmarks. I think Iron Man 2 or 3, he spent some time in China, with like a notable Chinese robotics expert or some shit, and it was just like you do these little things to make it palatable over there, to make the government be okay.
Yeah, and I want to say something. Whoever's listening to this, we're not saying the Chinese citizens
No,
are awful. No, no,
no,
no. Their government is shit. I don't like
no,
their government.
no. Yeah,
so so it's like,
people do a lot of things. They bend over backwards. I mean, look what the NBA did. The
oh, for
NBA,
sure.
the
Yeah,
NBA,
yeah, yeah.
like sacrificed a guy on the fucking funeral pyre because he said some shit about support Hong Kong.
Yeah,
They were like, nah, he ain't with
yeah.
us.
And no thanks, man. I don't
Like, there's
I don't
not.
want
Yeah,
that shit.
it's too much.
I
The,
don't want that.
he said the communism Red Scare was similar in U.S. history as well in the Hollywood blacklist. What do you mean about Hollywood blacklist? Yeah, I mean the communism Red Scare. Yeah, we had that in America, and that's kind of like ingrained in a lot of people, and that's why it's funny. That's why people make fun of people in America. Like if you don't like shit that everyone likes in America, you say, "What are you, communist?"
Yeah. That's the joke,
If
right?
you were
That's the
anti-war
that's
during the
the
Vietnam era, you wouldn't get work. Oh, and in China? That's you mean Hollywood blacklist.
oh
Oh,
no.
very interesting.
Mm.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. But it's like that's very believable. That's very believable
Oh,
because
I
it's
mean,
like
yeah.
if you go against I mean, like look at they're doing it right now. They're doing that to people who are, I mean, granted, I think it's stupid to be against the whole COVID thing, but like the people who are out there being like, oh, like you don't need to wear a mask, or having parties like Jake Paul had a party or whatever. And
Jesus
he's
Christ.
tweeting shit about you don't have to wear a mask, and the mayor's like, fuck this guy. And it's like, but at the same time, like we talked about before, he has a huge following, and if he says like fuck masks, you might get some dumbass kids that say fuck masks, and then we
Of
just have a
course you're gonna
bigger
have
problem.
dumbass
Like,
kids. Right. And I get that. Don't get me wrong. Once again, I just don't like him.
right?
Right? He's an idiot
Yeah.
at the end of the day.
Holy shit.
And he is bad for society, right? He's in general it's not something that should be uh within
Yeah.
within society because he just makes it worse.
100%.
But at the end of the day, I don't hold him responsible for what his dumbass audience decides to listen and follow this idiot. Because if you cannot view his actions as anything but stupid, I got nothing for you.
Yeah.
I,
I feel you.
I can't sit down and have a conversation with
Right.
you because I'm pretty sure the conversation's gonna make me have headaches.
Right.
Like, it's just it's at the end of the day, man. And it's funny because we're going again back to the previous conversations in this podcast. We just you can hold people responsible, but at the same time, like to an extent, right? I hold Blizzard responsible in the sense of like, hey, you don't have to be part of cancel culture.
Right.
That's not something you have to be part of.
No.
But then, of course, at the same
And
time,
that's really that was their
what happened with
response.
the Hearthstone player, that was due to China. That was
Right.
due to them
Not
having
wanting to lose
issues.
that marketplace. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Um, which is, you're playing into fear where it's like, oh, okay, China, like I would backfire them. I'm like, oh, you don't want us to lose that marketplace? Maybe your citizens wouldn't be happy if they lost something that gives them an escape.
Man, you would think so, but
You would,
that
yeah,
is
but
such a, I mean, they are currently, and just to fucking, yeah, let's just wind down on this subject.
yeah, right.
Let's just wind down on this fucking hardest subject.
Let's go.
They are currently internment. There are internment camps full of Muslims in China. They are taking people's jobs away. They are taking people's livelihoods away if they say that they are Muslim, and they are forcing people to renounce their faith, all faith, not just Muslim, but like Muslims are being. There was a woman in China who got her government stipend away or whatever. Her husband's paycheck, like not paycheck, but like her husband's I forget what it's called, but she was getting a little bit of, I mean, like, bro, like $35.
Right, right.
like
Nothing.
actual, yeah, like no money. But she was getting a very small amount of money because her husband died, and she said she was Christian, and they're taking it away, and they're putting Muslims in camps if they don't renounce their faith, and yeah, they want you to only believe in the Chinese Communist Party. The party will provide everything you need. Like, it's not God, it's not anybody else. It's
That's
just
crazy.
the party. It's fucking nuts. It's insane. And that obviously the media is not talking about it because they want to be able to make their money in
Course.
China. The
Are
government's not
you
talking about it.
crazy,
The,
sir?
the funny thing is, we're having these public arguments with China over trade. Trade.
Right.
But I feel like it's being used to kind of mask the actual reason we're having a fight with them.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
Because if you say, hey, if you come out and say, hey, China, you're committing atrocities and you're committing human rights violations, that starts conversations in the UN, and then you have to mobilize motherfuckers.
Right.
And do you
right.
really want to fight China
Right.
when they can just
I mean,
throw bodies at you?
I mean, listen. It is what it is, man.
Hey,
I
we've
don't
said
know.
many times. We've said many times on this podcast that our goal is to be canceled by China.
Yeah,
that's if we make it there. If we get China to be mad at us,
China to cancel us.
yeah. If China gets mad at us, then we have done our job.
No, man. See, and that's why sometimes we look at everything that's happening, right? Shit like how the government is in China and how they
Right.
control their citizens, how people and humanity is here in the States, the fucking guy that's running this country, obviously other locations, not just China and the U.S., but I mean, you look at the horrible crimes that happen in Africa to their citizens, and other countries that experience similar shit. I mean, shit. Look at, for instance, the extreme uh, Muslim countries. I don't know which ones. I
Saudi
always
Arabia.
forget. Huh?
Saudi Arabia.
Stuff like that, yeah, where it's like if a woman does something, you could kill her.
Hey,
like some crazy shit like that.
Hey, how does Saudi Arabia is progressive. They finally allowed women to drive cars. I think like a year ago. Yeah, they're progressive. They just kill reporters.
So hearing all, and now don't get me wrong, this is just more of my negative side talking, because I know there's good in this world too, but sometimes it's hard to see the good when you see so much evil.
Real talk.
So much. It's hard to recognize that there's good when you see the horrible things that um, everything from the smallest irrelevant shit we do to the most impactful thing that human beings do. It's sometimes hard to see the good when there's just so much of the wrong and the bad
Yep.
in the world. But you gotta gotta sit back, get away from some stuff, breathe.
You gotta breathe, and I will say, obviously, some people might look for a way out. I would not, that is of course the easy way out.
Right.
And I'm gonna hit you. I'm gonna hit you with a line from Hamilton, which I'm gonna be turning into a T-shirt very soon here. That where George Washington says to Hamilton, "Dying's easy, son. Living is hard."
Yeah, man. 100%.
Life is difficult. It's always going to be difficult. But
100%.
as long as you are living it, you are succeeding.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, that's 100% truth. Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So going back to voicing acting.
That's it.
Voice acting representation.
No, that is it.
Because we never voiced our opinion on that.
We should.
No, I have no problem of anybody voicing any. Here's the thing: would I love to see a black drawn character be voiced by a black person? Sure, absolutely, of course I would. But if at the end of the day, nobody that is of color is applying to voice that character, then guess what? You're gonna be picking somebody else. Like it's just. And also, if a creator, for instance, I heard about Kristen Bell, but I didn't realize that the creator made the damn character to be played by her, which makes sense.
And then as we talked about that, we said she probably got hired because the guy knew her,
Yeah,
and it
knew
sounds
her
like he
exactly.
definitely did.
Yeah,
The realest thing is, um, the problem then is not hers.
it's not hers. Shit,
Because
it's not. To be
it's
honest,
his. Because
but
he made a mixed
here's the
character
thing.
and said this
But
character is for this white woman.
but here's the thing. But that's how we're seeing it, right? We're seeing it. Oh, he said this character is for this white woman. No, maybe he just said this character is for a woman that I know who is a
Yeah.
great actress and wants to. That's
What up,
it.
Twiz?
That's it. Maybe that's how all he saw, or he or she, whoever they were.
Right. No,
Maybe that's
it's very, like I said, like this is why I asked the question that I did when I first brought up the subject is when you watch The Simpsons, is it an Indian man on screen or do you think Apu is voiced by a white guy? Because I'll tell you right now, for me, never once did I consider that Apu might be a white guy.
right.
All I thought about was here's an Indian person. And actually, if we're going to be really, really real, Apu is the reason I got interested in Indian culture.
I mean, there you go.
Like, Apu, and like what I would even venture to say are probably some of the most stereotypical Indian characters in fiction are the ones that got me interested to learn about Indian culture.
Right. Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, yes, can we argue that something's fucked up? Of course we can, right? Because anything, we've always said
You could
this,
take anything
anything you
poorly.
look at, you can tear it apart and it can be the worst thing in the world.
Yep.
Of course it can. But at the end of the day, until
The question then comes
um,
in, what culture are you learning? And that's the thing. India is not one culture. And that's the thing. You don't know that until you start looking into it.
right, exactly. Um, so yeah, of course, things can be looked at wrong. And if that's how you choose to live your life, you're going to have a hell of a life because you're not going to be happy a lot of the times.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I try to be optimistic about shit. And I also try to look at it in a more positive manner. When we found out the whole Kristen Bell thing, I said to myself, I'm like, yeah, but what if the guy just knows her and he knows she's an actress and voice acts and
Right.
wants her to do it?
Right.
Like that doesn't automatically make him somebody who wants to whitewash the world. That just makes him somebody that conveniently knows an actress that could do a voice and knows that she has a name attached to her, so that way he can bring an audience to a show that's about, who knows? Maybe I don't remember exactly what the show's about, but maybe it presents equality. Maybe it presents the differences between right and wrong and stuff like that. But nobody would have known that
from
if
what
he
I can
got Joe
tell,
Schmo off the street.
from what I can tell, and this is me knowing nothing about the show, I'm just looking at a photo of the characters. You have
Right.
a mixed girl, and I only know I would have said black originally, but you have a mixed girl, but we know she's mixed because of this whole thing.
Right.
There is, it looks like they're all trying to pee. I don't understand this photo.
Oh,
It looks like they're all like holding it in pee. The next kid looks like a younger Mort from Family Guy with just brown hair. And then there's some kid with a big forehead, a redhead girl, and maybe Middle Eastern or Asian kid. So it's like out of the 5 characters, 3 are white. Why aren't we having that conversation?
right.
Not like if you want representation, is it a bigger key that the character visible, the thing that the children are going to attach to, not because the children that watch this, because I think this is for kids.
Is it Central Park? Is that what it's called?
No, Big Mouth.
Big Mouth.
The kids that watch this aren't going to think, oh, who is voicing this person? They're going to see the character on the screen. So they're going to want to see I just don't, it's a visual medium. You know what I mean?
Right. Exactly. Right. It's the kids that are going to be watching this, and also looks like there's aliens involved in the show.
Yeah, I don't know.
Looking
Demons.
at
It's weird.
looking at images.
It looks weird
Regardless, kids that are going to be watching this show, they're not going to be concerned on who's voicing the character.
Exactly.
They're just going to
That's
be
my thing. If
concerned
it's for
about what they're
and
watching.
that's the thing. If it's for kids, if it is not for
If
kids,
it's for kids, which I mean, I'm looking at some of this stuff and I'm like, I don't even know if this is for kids.
right,
Like,
right. There was a great I've been watching Family Guy episodes for like season 9 or 10. There was a great moment where it was like, oh, everybody was doing thought bubbles, and then it was beads. I remember the exact scene now. They were talking about going to New Orleans, and Peter says, yeah, down there it's all about the beads. And then they show thought bubbles, and Peter is like throwing beads off a balcony, and they show Joe thought bubble, he's throwing beads off a balcony, and then they show Quagmire and he's pulling beads from out of the thought bubble, and he's like, we get it. He's like, the kids don't get it, but we get what's happening here.
you sure it's Big Mouth? Because it's Central Park. I think you're looking at the wrong. It's Central Park. Because I'm seeing it here. Hamilton star Emmy Raver Lampman. I'm sure I'm pronouncing all that shit wrong. To replace Kristen Bell as biracial Central Park character.
Oh, Central Park? Okay.
Central
That's a
Park.
different one.
And I was gonna say, I'm looking at Big Mouth. I'm like, bro, that's
because it happened on both shows.
Oh,
that's
okay.
why I brought that up.
But yeah, so this looks more like it's
Dude,
towards kids or whatever.
Dude,
but
the dad is played by Leslie Odom Jr. He's played by fucking Aaron Burr. I want to watch the show just because he's on it. I fucking love. By the way, above everyone else in that show, Aaron Burr, definitely my favorite performer. Leslie Odom Jr. murdered that role. Just like he murdered Alexander Hamilton.
You really on that Hamilton.
Bro, I can't even tell you. I've literally thought about making a video of myself singing the first song. No joke.
I'm surprised. I'm honestly surprised you liked it. I thought it was good. I didn't enjoy it as much as a lot of other people. I thought it was really good. I thought it was very well done, and
it's one of those things that it has actually got me thinking. Like, I did some research into his wife, because at the end it was like, because I don't know why. I don't know why, but this show has gotten me super emotional. Couldn't tell you about what. Couldn't tell you why. Still haven't figured that out. But like
the Hamilton,
every song. So like the whole show, I'm like cracking a tear. And then the last part where his wife is like eulogizing him, and she's talking about, oh, by the way, I made an orphanage, and I was like, of course you did. Like,
I think you cracked a tear because you're a bitch, dude.
Wow. That's
see, if that was taken out of context, that was fucked up.
Right, exactly.
That was
exactly.
No, I mean, I will say, yeah, when she mentions that, seeing his son die, that was rough.
Yeah, seeing like his son die, and then like, dude, that whole fucking.
And I could have sworn,
so
I swear to God, I remember watching something that had Hamilton in it, and there was a scene where like I'm watching and his kid does die, and it's and I'm trying to remember what fucking movie I watched that had that, because I swear to you, I watched it, and I could have sworn I enjoyed the movie, but I can't remember it.
Alexander Hamilton.
It's definitely not the 1931 one. Looks like there was one in 1998. Nope, that ain't Commander Hamilton. That's
No. It would have been something recent. Hamilton in Fiction and History. No, yeah, he's very interesting. He's a very interesting character, and again, it's very much about how he's presented, like how
right.
Because everything about the way the show's done is fantastic, and then people are like, oh, but what about like we didn't really address slavery? Like there was a couple mentions of it in the show. There's actually those rap battles they have in the Senate.
Right.
There's a third one that they cut, so there's a demo of it that's on the mixtape, and it's entirely about slavery. Yeah, they cut like a few things out of the show. Man, where is the fiction list of no? Maybe that's what I want. List of movies with Hamilton in movies.
Because I could have sworn I watched
Yeah,
something
I
that
don't
had.
know. There was The Crossing. Uh, there's
But regardless,
yeah.
the show is very good. Yeah, absolutely. I don't know. For the soundtrack wise, now obviously this is gonna go a little bit different because what I'm about to say is like it's not the
You're
same.
about to say some silly shit.
No, I'm not gonna say some shit, but soundtrack wise, I prefer the Greatest Showman soundtrack over Hamilton soundtrack.
But that was a different kind of musical, and to me, um, that's something where that's actually I didn't know what it was gonna be like, right? I didn't know it was gonna be
Right, right,
fully
right.
musical. I was expecting something like The Greatest Showman, where you have talking parts and then you go into musical, because that's also kind of like what every musical I've seen is like. I've never seen
Sure.
a
Yeah,
fully
absolutely.
musical production, so like that was very interesting. And there we go, theater and film, Disney Plus, American Musical. There was a stage play, television. There was a mini series. There was a period drama, 2016 to 2017. Turn Washington Spies.
I didn't watch Churn. I should
There was
watch
a
Churn.
John Adams miniseries in 2008, and then there was
Mm,
The Crossing.
maybe.
All I know is the whole thing very interesting. Very interesting,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and it goes back to Ilam's question from earlier. When you're consuming this kind of fiction, is what are you learning from from the actual reality? What are you
Right.
consuming? And if you just watch if you just watch the show Hamilton, you're gonna get a beautifully picture perfect view of that era. And it was anything but that simple. It was anything but
Oh
that
yeah, yeah,
pretty.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
100%.
because there were so many other factors that it's impossible to it's really something that you can't understand unless it's told from the perspective of one character. Because you look at something like uh, I am an asshole and I can't think of the name of the movie, but it is the movie about the Civil War with Denzel Washington, and I can't think of the name of the movie. Whatever.
You mean War?
Civil War. That's what I said. It's
Yeah,
not
yeah,
called. It's
but
not called War. No, it's not called War. Um,
who's the other player? Are
yeah,
you gonna
like indoor plumbing not existing. Like, there's dude, everyone is in them.
Right,
Wesley
you're
Snipes is in
talking
it.
yeah, you're talking about Ferris Bueller? Oh, it's Glory. It's Glory.
Glory, yes,
Yeah,
Glory,
Glory.
fantastic
Great,
movie,
fantastic movie.
fantastic movie.
10 fucking 10.
But
If you
again,
haven't
but
watched
again,
Glory, you should watch Glory.
but again, it is an idealized version of those events.
Oh, of course. I mean, yeah.
It's one of those things like, oh, like you can watch that and be like, I mean, like let's say watching Hamilton, and you have John Lawrence going to West Virginia, and he gets a company of men. He leads the first Black Battalion, but it's like they just kind of glossed over that and glossed over A, its importance, and B, the conditions. Like those weren't choices those people made.
Right.
Like,
Right.
it was like,
Um,
will you do this or you stay on the plantation? Like that's your choice.
right.
Like,
Yeah, exactly.
so it's
Exactly.
like it's you don't hear all the things. It's funny. So if you listen to this, by the way, the mixtape is almost pretty much universally fantastic, except for like 2 or 3 songs. It's a great mixtape. Um, Lin-Manuel does a crazy good verse on a song with Nas called "I Wrote Myself Out." Fantastic, but
But that's because Lynn is a.
he's a rapper. He's a freestyle rapper. Like he,
He's a creator.
yeah,
He's not one
but he
thing.
had a freestyle rap troupe, like a improv
No, that's
freestyle
fine.
rap
That's
troupe.
fine. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's fine. That's fine. I
Um,
don't care. I don't care.
I don't care.
What I'm trying to say is
Uh,
he's more than just that.
yeah,
He
yeah,
is
no.
he is a creator.
Yeah, but
He directs,
he's a great
he
rapper.
acts, he can rap. He can sing.
He's an okay singer. He
It doesn't
the
matter. He can do it.
yeah, but
Like if you listen to him sing, you're like, oh God, stop it. That's
but
awful. That's
so
not your
so
reaction to his singing.
I watched a presentation of the British cast doing the first song. I hate their Aaron Burr. Hate like because they're all English, so they're all doing American accents while also rapping and singing. So it's like a lot of them are just way over pronounced. So like was like the $10 founding father without like it's just like it's really accentuated pronunciation because they're still trying to keep.
Why
the
you gotta
accent.
be hating, man?
But no. But their Hamilton is a way better singer than Lin-Manuel Miranda. Way better singer.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that
Well,
somebody's not better
but
than him.
I hate their Aaron Burr. I hate their Aaron Burr. I hate him. Hate his guts.
I'm just saying he is a creator because he doesn't do just
Yeah.
one thing. He does a lot, and I'm I enjoy greatly people who are capable of doing that. That's why I'm a big fan of Hugh Jackman too.
Yeah.
Hugh Jackman isn't just an actor; he is an actor,
An actor.
which is a different. It's a different stand because he can do more than just be on camera. He can be in front of a live audience. He can perform. He can sing. He can dance, and that makes him more. And that's why I enjoy um, people who are not only willing to go further in acting than just being an actor
Right.
to make millions, because it widens their way what they're capable of doing. That's why I'm
Yeah.
a big fan of um, Zac Efron, because Zac Efron, when
He's
he
all over
first
the
started,
place.
like when he first started, I guess from what I've heard, I don't know if it's accurate, but like he couldn't even sing for High School Musical, right?
Right.
But now the guy's doing fucking, he does The Greatest Showman with likes of Hugh Jackman, and he, in my opinion, does just as good of a job. I think, in my personal opinion, somebody like Zac
But did
Efron,
he actually sing? That's the real question.
what, the music? He did. He just didn't sing it while performing the moves.
Well,
He
obviously.
they said they tried, and it just both him and what's the girl that was
Wasn't it Zendaya?
act, yeah, even she was like, there's no way we were gonna do this, and because we sounded awful trying to do both. So they were like, we did the moves, then we did the singing with
ADR.
what's it
Yeah.
called? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I mean
So
that's all. I mean like for something like that the singing is always ADR. You can't
yeah.
because especially if there's moving.
Well, not always. Not the Hugh Jackman movie that he did. Whatever the fucking stupid
Les Miserables.
God. Yeah, that one. That was all while recording.
I'll have to watch it because it'll sound different.
They've talked about it.
Outside of
They are on record saying, him, the director, they are on record saying those were as recorded singing.
interesting, very interesting.
So it's
I'll give that a shot one of these days. I don't know, man.
It's it took
There's too much to watch. There's too much to watch.
Oh
There's
my
too
God,
many damn
there's a
things.
lot, man.
There's too many things.
Bro,
Like the fact
for me to catch up on everything I missed. But I want to watch
need
that
to-
Denzel Washington movie where
Fences.
he's like
Oh.
he's like a rough dad. It almost
Fences.
looks like
Yeah,
he's
no, I was right. It's Fences.
yeah.
But you know,
Yeah, Fences.
But that's based on a play. That's based on a stage play.
Oh, well,
That
there
he's
you
in.
go.
That he's in. Yeah.
But I want to watch that. Dude, there's just so many things I want to watch, but that I haven't gotten a chance to go see.
I'm gonna go on record and say that there is not a single Denzel Washington movie that is not good. They're not all great, but
They're not all
there
great.
is not a
but that
single
doesn't mean
bad
they're
Denzel
good.
Washington movie.
I've yet to watch his one and only sequel ever created.
That's true.
Equalizer
I
2.
never caught that. I never ever caught that.
Created a sequel before. This was the first ever Denzel Washington sequel.
Yeah.
And why wasn't this the thing he comes back? Don't get me wrong, it was a good first
But
movie.
like, what else would you have sequeled that he would be in? He dies in Training Day. He goes to jail in John Q.
Spoiler alert.
It's a 20-year-old movie. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. If you don't know he dies at the end of Training Day, you've been late.
Hold on, there's a lot of Denzel Washington movies. I gotta look him up.
There are a lot. He's no Sam Jackson. Sam Jackson he might have cracked 100.
Sam Jackson don't give a fuck. He will be in whatever.
Has Sam Jackson cracked 100?
And he's Oh, he could have been. What do you mean? There could have been a sequel to Two Guns. What?
There's supposed to be a sequel to Two Guns. I told you. There's a second book. It's called Three Guns. There's a girl.
I don't care. There could have been.
Also, Three Guns would have been a terrible name for a movie. Two Guns was bad enough as it was.
Nah, I would have taken it. I don't care.
It's not a bad sequel book, but I think they blew the ending. So I think you could.
They could have done another Deja Vu.
Deja Vu. Don't remember that one, which is ironic because that's the point. Dude. Currently.
Oh my god, dude!
All right, we're recording this. The back little corner of this. I can't believe it ran out of space. That blows my mind. But we were like 3 hours 15 minutes on that record. So this is gonna be a long ass podcast.
So he was on. Okay, so real quick.
Final thought.
Samuel L. Jackson. He's on a obviously interview for Django Unchained.
Yeah.
And somebody so there's a guy, very popular guy that's on YouTube that does interviews, and he says there's a lot of controversy behind the N-word that's thrown in the movie. And Samuel L. Jackson looks at the guy, he's like, try it. He's like, I can't. Like he's like do it, try it, just say it, like I'm telling you to do it. And he's like, I can't do it. He's like, then I guess he's like then I guess we're not gonna if you don't say it, we're not talking about it. And the guy's the guy's like I can't say it, I cannot do it, because like I think he literally just can't do it. Like it's not that he is being told he can't do it. Like I think he just legitimately is like, I don't.
Yeah, no, I think I don't want. It's a lot of white people think that.
Yeah,
way.
And so
I honestly.
Hold on. So hold on. Yeah. So real quick. So he's like, oh man, but it was such a good question. He's like, it wasn't a good enough question if you could say the word.
Yeah. But here's the thing. I would have said it. I would have said it under the potential that Sam Jackson knocks me out, and maybe even a little more because he might knock me out.
Yeah, right. But
because I've been all right.
But I think what's great about Samuel especially is that he would talk about it. If you could say the word, if he said do it, he meant it. He said say it, and I 100% believe he wanted you to say it so you could talk about it.
Yeah.
So you could bring it up on why maybe it would be controversial or
because you know it's funny. He probably would have had two different approaches to it.
Right. Yeah, for sure. I'm sure he would have.
Because depending on how Homeboy said it, might have been a different reaction. It might have been a different reaction.
Right. Because if he was all like if it was all like underhanded, like trying to hide it, like saying it type of deal, right?
Yeah.
Or if he just like straight up like okay, and says the word, and then maybe there's all. We said it a little too easily.
Yeah.
Right.
If he was like, say it, and he was like, and he just came out like that, man, that says some shit. Because if he was like, say it, he's like, try it right now. Like as soon as he said it the first time, and the guy just like pops out and says it,
right?
Man, that would have been different. But if that would hit a little different, as they say.
Oh yeah, of course, 100%. But I think if he said it after like I can't do it, like I can't say it. And then finally said it just to have the conversation. I think 100% Sam would have just.
I think Sam Jackson. I mean, obviously I don't know the guy, but I think from what I've seen and how he behaves in interviews and conversations, I just think that if you come at it from an educated standpoint, and you come at it from a genuine point of conversation.
Right.
Not like I'm saying the word to like because I get away with it now because you said I could. Like I
Right.
think if you were to say, hey, well, the word I want to talk about is the word, and you said it, that is, to me, that's like a clinical way of saying something. You know what I'm saying? Like like you walk around with your boys saying, hit that vagina. You know what I'm saying? Hit that vagina, right? But then you can also talk about vagina.
Right.
And that's two different,
Right.
like, it's the same word.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
the same word.
100%.
Like,
100%. 100%.
like it's how you say it and how you approach a subject. Like,
Yeah.
I think
Absolutely.
if you come at shit from a educated and educational standpoint, I think you can say anything. Like,
Yeah.
like even
Yeah. I mean, it's all
shit you're not
about
supposed to say.
100%. It's all about how it is presented.
Yeah.
Like if you watch Django Unchained, and the fact that that word was controversial when that movie came out is idiotic because look at the entirety of that movie.
Mm-hmm.
The whole point of that movie is showing you the fucked up
But
situation
Hades, he
of.
showed his penis. It's not the same. It was fake penis, but he showed his penis.
Was it fake?
Yeah, no,
Was it
it's,
fake?
yeah, it's,
Was it Mark Wahlberg fake?
it's called a merkin.
It's a merkin.
That's what they call it. Yeah.
Oh, I thought a merkin was thing they place over the penis when they're trying to have sex.
Well, yeah, that's what they place over the penis so that you don't actually show penis. You know what I mean? Like it's a fake penis so that you're not showing actual dick.
Oh, see, I thought it was merkin was like it was essentially like something to cover it up. Not
No. Yeah, it's
a penis.
no, yeah, no. This was just like because like, and they spent some time on it on camera, and to the point that I was uncomfortable.
Like I know I got one, but this is really uncomfortable right now.
It says it stripped them out of their scary by making them bitter about their costumes. I'm not sure I understand what you mean. In Django? But you had some interesting. I mean, Django was a very, very good movie. Like
Django was. I mean,
and you had these moments like the DiCaprio glass breaking moment, and when he rubs his actual blood on the girl's face and she freaks out, like that's all real.
It's all. That's why she's also freaking out.
And when you know that and you're watching it, you're like, oh, that's gross.
That's why, that's why she's also
like
freaking out.
First of all, he's Leonardo DiCaprio. He's had sex with everyone. Do you want his blood on you?
Yeah, I do.
You're like, what? He's like, what? What if some of it rubs off and I get some of his talent?
What if I get some of that talent?
Yeah. Yeah, it makes you look at our history. I think that
100%.
Dude, there's so many intricacies in our history. You know what I learned today or the other day, yesterday or today?
Real quick before you get into that, real quick, if you watch that movie and the only thing you get out of that movie was like, that was a dope. I already forgot the director's name because he's retiring after the next one. That was a dope.
No, that's not him.
What do you mean that's not him? Yes, it is, dude.
That wasn't Django. You're thinking of Crazy 8 or whatever.
Which is another movie that he did, but that was directed
That wasn't a Tarantino movie.
Django Unchained is 100% a Tarantino movie. What are you talking about? 100% directed by Quentin Tarantino.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
So if you come out of that saying like, what a great Tarantino movie, and that's all you got out of that movie, aside of like him showing
but
like how...
But I think that's true for every movie. Like I think if you come out of any movie and you're like,
what a great action movie. Like, here's the thing. There are some action movies that are just action movies, and they might have...
I'm sorry.
And they might have a small like hidden message behind the movie. Might. Like it's a hard might. Mm-hmm. But there are most movies will have multiple
there's layers.
Messages that they're trying to convey while you're watching the movie.
It's like an onion. He films respects to this topic. Pulp Fiction. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
100%.
But what did you learn? What did you recently?
So you know how we're taught in school that George Washington Carver invented peanut butter.
No.
The black guy who invented peanut butter, right? Everybody, that's what you're taught in school.
If you say so.
They teach you that is the thing he did. And
If you say so.
this is how like shitty our education system is, because it's so selective and so bullshitty. They gave him peanut butter. They didn't give him the fact that he found a way to revitalize the soil in the South, because the cotton plants had destroyed the soil and removed all the nutrients, and you couldn't fucking plant shit on there anymore, and you couldn't grow shit out of it anymore. So he figured out, because he was a scientist, that you could plant certain plants which would then reintroduce nitrogens and minerals into the soil so that you can use the fucking soil again. Yeah, he saved this country from fucking starvation because he
Sir, according to Google,
he invented peanut butter.
no. In 1884, Marcellus Gilmore Edson of Canada patented peanut paste.
That's
the finished product from milling roasted peanuts
patented.
Well, I said who invented peanut butter. That's what came out.
No. It was not in service of peanut butter. It was just because most people were sharecroppers and they couldn't feed their families because they couldn't grow anything.
Right.
So he figured out that he figured out a way to revitalize soil so that you could plant shit, and so that you
it says it right here under his Wikipedia. It says was an American I'm horrible at saying words. Agricultural scientist and inventor.
Yeah.
He promoted alternative crops to cotton and methods to prevent soil depletion.
Yep.
He was the most prominent black scientist in the early 20th century. I mean, yeah, if the only thing you're teaching is like he created peanut butter,
yep.
How about the fact that he was fucking agricultural scientist and inventor? That sounds more
yep.
Better than fucking he invented peanut butter.
Yep.
Right? Sounds like a cool dude. I agree. Sounds like a pretty damn cool dude.
Yeah. But that's the thing. They don't teach you that. They don't teach you that. And that's the thing is, if you just take what's on screen and you just walk away from the one thing, that was a great Tarantino movie, or man, that Star Trek Star Trek movie was fantastic. You didn't get the whole point at all.
Yeah,
that's the
you
thing.
didn't look at
there
was
there was a great TikTok where the guy talked about, if you're a nerd, but history has a history of not celebrating minority.
Oh, for sure.
Oh my god, yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, history is written by white men, and it's kind of fucking disgusting at this point. Like the more, like, and that's the thing I was saying before. I've learned more about American history and world history in my years since school than I ever learned in school.
Oh, for sure.
They teach you.
Well, that's why
in school they teach you more about like a single battle than they do about actual history.
When we talked about George Floyd, I always said, when we're in school, they talk about racism, but they never say why racism would be bad.
Right.
They just talk about it and that it happened.
Yeah.
That's it.
Facts and figures, and only the ones they want you to know, the only ones they want you to think about.
Right.
And also in America, we don't acknowledge the Armenian genocide because Turkey is an ally and we don't want to make them mad. But Turkey killed a whole people.
Right.
Like, that's the kind of shit we don't teach around here. Like,
yeah, man. They also removed the human impact
yes.
of the
oh my god,
they
yes.
cover. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. It's very much a matter of, this is a thing that happened, not this many people died. It was like, we went to Vietnam, we were there for X amount of years, and we came back and nobody won. Not, we murdered hundreds of thousands of people. like
right?
We don't do that. We don't cover that part. I found out that, counting the explosion of the Spanish flu, World War I has like it's a wide gap because of if you count the Spanish flu or not. It's like 16 to 60 million head count for how many people died during World War I, because the Spanish flu also started, and then there was like conflict of who died of what.
Right.
So if you count everything, it was like 60 million people died during World War I, which is
according to, I looked this up, but according to Wikipedia, which I know,
I mean,
that's
it's
edited by people,
it's
but
also a good enough place to start.
it's a good enough place to start. But according to them, um,
Yeah, of course.
the Spanish flu took more lives
Hmm.
than the war.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And then I'm sitting there, and it's like, then we come to our current pandemic, and it's like people are like, well, the flu kills just as many people. I'm like, yeah, but we also don't quarantine for the flu.
Right.
If you
Guess,
get the flu
hold
and you
on.
go to the hospital, they put you in a chamber
Guess what?
until you get better.
Guess what? If they put on the news every day about that 5,000 people died today of the flu, you'd be a lot more serious about the flu.
Yeah, right.
Hey, if it was June 2018 or 2019, and they were like, all right, guys, time for our daily flu totals. 3,000 people today have died from the flu.
Right,
Make
right,
sure you stay the fuck away from people if you're sick.
right.
Like, they wouldn't, like, it would be a completely different thing. The same thing, you know what we talked about earlier briefly regarding jokes, but in the real, like, I don't know the numbers, but there are many children that go missing every single day that end up in
Oh, it's
sexual
absurd.
slave trade and all that shit.
Yeah, yeah,
if
yeah.
if the news covered that for just a
Daily.
20-minute block
Daily.
every day, hey, today this many children disappeared. Here is a list of them. Here are their pictures. If you fucking see them, those are missing children. Every
Daily.
day, and just kept a tally and sent you a tally on Facebook every day, people would think about shit.
Yep.
282,000 U.S. and Allied
US
deaths in
and
Vietnam War.
Vietnam War.
144,000 COVID in the U.S. so far. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Exactly.
we've come
We want to.
half to the soldier death of Allied forces in the U.S. Man,
Yeah.
we're on our way. We're on our way.
We're doing good.
We're gonna beat one of our worst one of the worst periods in American history. We're gonna beat that in deaths. Fucking idiots.
Unbelievable.
That's gonna be it. We're at like 3.5 hours on this.
It's such a long podcast. Talk about
Preventable.
tangents.
Preventable. That's the problem. People don't realize this shit is preventable. But hey, I gotta have a party. I gotta have a birthday party. There was a bridal shower. No, I'm sorry. There was a baby shower. A baby shower with 200 attendees in California. 200.
I'm losing my goddamn brains, man. I swear to fucking
200? Like, people lost their shit, but that's the funny thing.
Bro,
But we talk about we talk about the celebrities, because all the TikTok influencers and shit, they all had a party. There was like 70 people in there, 70 people, and everyone's losing their shit and they're mad at them and blah blah blah. 200 people went to a birthday or whatever baby shower. Fuck out of here.
I'm telling you right now. I'm telling you right now. I will never feel bad for anybody who gets sick and loses a loved one because they decided to throw a baby shower and invite everybody there.
Yep.
And if you ask me or you say, "Oh, boo-hoo me," I'm gonna be like, "Boo-hoo you what?"
Hey, at least you're in luck. You can't have your mother and your cousin randomly show up at your house because you live with your mother-in-law and she's got some strict ass rules. So you're in luck there, because we found out that another cousin of ours had a cousin and his mom just show up. Just show up.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy. It's crazy.
People don't think about it. They don't think about it. They don't consider.
And some people don't care. Some people don't
Yeah,
care.
there's that. There's people that think that we're just better. I mean, like, we joke around like we're better, but like, it's not a joke.
Yeah.
Like, this shit is real. I don't go anywhere that I don't have to go.
I've heard of people showing up in person to tell others they have it. Yeah. That's the thing. That's the thing. This world, man. Sometimes you really got to think about it and be like,
that's like finding out you have AIDS and then going over to your significant other's house, having sex with no protection, and then being like, man, I really needed that. Just found out today that I had AIDS.
I mean,
like, what the fuck kind of bullshit is that?
I sometimes, man, the
Oh
world,
my God.
The world is it's a interesting place.
And this is exactly what I was talking about earlier. At some point, shit is so ridiculous that you can't help but laugh. Shit is so
You
ridiculous.
think movies are unbelievable. If they only put real life in movies, it'd be even more
Bro,
unbelievable.
seriously. If in 2019, if someone was like in the future, someone's like, "Hey, I'm going to go back in time. I'm going to make a movie about 2020, put it out in 2019." No one would believe it. No one would watch it. They'd be like, "That's too
Nobody.
much shit. That's too much shit. It's too
Nobody.
much idiocy. No one would do all of these bad things.
No. It's crazy,
No one
man.
would do it." But
It's
it's the
crazy.
reality that we live in. So, wash your hands. Fucking don't go see people if you can't help it. Like if you must go to the grocery store, go to the grocery store. Cover your face. Jeez, just
Real quick, there's a movie called Heist made in 2015. Jeffrey D. Morgan, Robert De Niro, Kate Bosworth, Dave Batista. I don't know what the fuck's going on, why they have all these names in this bitch, but
no, I've seen it. Heist.
Heist. Yeah, it's on Netflix. 20 was made 2015. Desperate to pay his daughter's medical bills, a broke casino dealer plans a robbery with a shady accomplice. When things go wrong, they
Mm.
hijack a bus.
Look, I was kind of iffy until you said they hijack a bus. Cause now I'm in. What the fuck?
Yeah, now I'm speed. I'm in.
It's Ocean's 11. It's Speed Ocean's 11.
That's right. That's right. I'm in.
Breaking Bad meets Speed. Also that, yeah.
There's that too. There's that too.
Jesus Christ. All right, we're pushing 4 hours at this point. That's gonna be it for today. Wash your
I
hands.
want to get it to even 5 hours.
Get
Let's
the
go.
fuck out of here. I will shut this up. I'm running out of disk space. I gotta pull shit off. It's so stupid.
I feel like you don't have enough disk space, bro.
You know what? It's literally been something that I'm like,
Thank
oh,
you,
I'll back
Elam.
up next
Thank
one.
you. Thank you
Elam,
for being
thank you
part
so
of the
much.
show. Thank you for being here for this long. Thank you for conversing with us.
Yes,
This is definitely more fun when there's people
absolutely. Holy shit.
throwing stuff at us. It's always interesting. So, but
Definitely.
we, as always, watch us or listen to us on everything that's available because we're pretty much on all of it. YouTube for watching and then listening. Basically, I think
Stitcher,
there's
Google
not.
Podcast, Apple
Yeah,
Podcasts, tune in. The podcast talk back. Exactly.
yeah, yeah. The
And you
podcast
can
talks
always
back.
leave comments on YouTube on the T3G Tangents channel. If you have questions that you want to argue with us about, if you want,
Yeah, or if you want us to address in the next podcast,
yeah, if you
or
if you
yeah.
if you if you can't be here live, you can always leave questions, and we can definitely address any questions.
And of course, tweet at us your horrible, mean words.
Yeah, let's trap some people on Twitter.
Let's trap some people on Twitter.
Tell us your worst joke on Twitter.
Yeah, right. But yeah, I mean, message us any way possible. We have it all. We have Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Like you said, put it on the video.
Oh
Global
Jesus!
warming, the real problem. That's actually, yeah. Let's go into it. We'll put
All
that
right,
part of the
all
next topic.
All right, I'm putting
Put
it.
it down.
Yeah, I'm putting it in.
Let's do
I'm
it.
putting it in. Jeez. Oh,
Let's do it. Let's go deep.
let's do it. Yeah, adding it to the podcast notes right here. All right. Take off this week's global warming. Let's do
Global
it.
warming.
Man.
Thanks again for watching. Thanks again for being part of it. See you guys. Listen to you guys. Listen to us guys in the next one.
See you guys. Thank you. And I'm gonna wrap this up right before. So I ended the stream because there were people on the stream. I appreciate the shit out of that. Anyone that's still here after 3 hours and 40 minutes, DM on Twitter, $10 Amazon gift card. You deserve it.
You deserve it.
You fucking deserve it.
If you're here for this long,
100%.
you are a champion.
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 Thanks again. I'll see you in the next one.